Hello.
Well,
Well,
hello.
greetings, everyone.
Greetings. Greetings. It's your guy, Ryan.
It's your boy Easy, your guy Ryan.
And you are
Goodness.
listening or watching
Oh
Turtle
yeah.
Soup, the internet, nay, the world's only community supported podcast dedicated to the ongoing journey of the TMNT all the way from the very beginning
Woo.
until I find someone that makes a good 1 to 72nd scale Gemini Titan 2 rocket
Oh,
for my
okay.
collection.
How hard is that?
I mean, pretty hard now because they really don't have any. I mean, Horizon Models makes Mercury Redstone,
Okay.
Mercury Atlas, and then there's the Saturn V, but I'm missing one manned launch vehicle,
Man, one man.
and it's the Gemini Titan 2.
Now, do they
Remember
make?
that time we went and saw that Titan 1 rocket in
I
Cordell?
do. I do. I totally remember that. That was on our way home from our trip to Georgia, to Atlanta, years ago.
I drove by it again, and I know so much more. And man,
Yeah.
it was so fun to see it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was great.
So did you regale your family with all of the knowledge, or did you just like try to find somebody there?
My kids stayed in the car. My parents kind of were going to come, and then like they just drove away, and I was like, oh. And then Alicia was there, but it was hot as hell.
Right.
I told her a little about it, and then she was like, I'm going to get in the car, and I was like, cool, I'm going to stay out here and look at this rocket some more, and I did. There's for people that might not know, in Cordell, Georgia, just off of I-75 at one of the exits, there's a gas station, and in the parking lot, there is an actual Titan 1 missile, which was an early ICBM from the 50s.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't have its nuclear payload on it, and later on, the Titan 2, which was significantly different, but had the same diameter, would be used to take the Gemini astronauts up to space, and it's just there.
Yeah,
and it's there.
Yeah,
it's like, you just look at it, you're like, this is amazing.
I remember seeing it, and I remember thinking that it looked like something that I'd see out west, like in a movie. More specifically, like do you remember the movie The Wizard? About the video games, like with Fred Savage and everybody, and everybody.
Yeah.
Most importantly,
Most importantly,
why am I blanking on her name? Oh my goodness, she was the singer of Rilo Kiley, Ginny Lewis. Yes, because she played a role in, or she was a huge role in that. She was his sister, I think, or something. Anyway, so they have this. There's a scene there in the movie where they go to this dinosaur world type place, like not like the one here in our hometown, but like it just out in the desert. And I kind of thought that like, oh, this rocket would be perfect in a place like that, like just down the road from there. Oh, you like dinosaurs? Well, you might like rockets. Just go down the road and tell them.
You might like that Titan 1 rocket sitting out there.
You like big things? Tell them Jimmy sent you. And it's like, oh, okay. Goodness.
It's pretty great. It still has all of its like Air Force livery on it and stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
But anyway, that's off 75. But I need that rocket, but different, with a Gemini capsule on top in plastic, please, with details that I can paint. Thank you. We are live on YouTube. If you're here watching, fantastic. If you are not, you're a podcast listener, you should really come over and check it out, especially for the kind of content we're going to do today, which is comics. You get to see the panels we're talking about, and that is pretty damn awesome. Our first run was last episode doing that live, and I had a blast being able to actually like see and even like direct Eric, like, go to this page because I want to talk about it.
Oh yeah.
It is a huge deal. So be sure to go to YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell icon, get all the notifications if you could. That'd be fantastic. Also, sharing the fact that we're live or sharing the live stream is good. Liking the video in real time is also good. Or even if you go back to watch it, liking the video helps us out a lot.
Indeed.
Speaking of people that help us out a lot, Eric, there's two today.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to lie. I'm gonna mention two today. You know what I'm saying? And text me if you want some patrons.
Oh my goodness!
But this episode is brought to you by the fantastic patrons Duncan Gale and Keith Lane, both longtime good time listeners and supporters of the show. If you would like to have your name read on the show and other cool swag that your boy Eric churns from literally his stovetop.
Literally,
sweating over it. You know what I'm saying? With a bad back and all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all hurt his back. I'm not saying you did it, but he did it for you. His back died for your sins. His jelly donut got squashed for your sins, and for your listening pleasure. So, if you want to do that, you can always go to patreon.com and look up Turtle Soup. We've been making a podcast for a million years. As low as $1, as high as 20. We have some great stuff. I know Eric's really been reworking that lately. We kind of had a meeting about that and the way that the shape that's going to take. And at $20, you get a T-shirt. Also, if you are, this is a new thing. If you are a patron, if you're a patron at all, even at the lowest tier, and you join, wait, we got okay, we got show offs here. We got our Appetite for Destruction shirt and our Meat is Murder shirt. Right there, ready to show. That is,
those were
that's how you put it forward.
It was, sorry. Those were the women's sizes that we got by mistake that I was trying to find a way to get rid of them. So I can think of one. So if you would like to, if you're interested in that, let me know what size and I'll see if we got it. We've got 2. I could look, but they're over there now. So, but yeah,
if not, our wives are going to wear them and like cut the sleeves off them and stuff.
Precisely. So, I mean, and wear them inside out, obviously, because they're embarrassed.
Of course,
of
of course. But if you join our Discord server, then you will get the role of family. You get access to No Homework Zone on there. You get access to family only channel streams, text chats and stuff like that. So go check that out and everything like that. So speaking of checking things out, on this podcast, we typically we check things out. That's what we do.
It's what we do.
Those are called steps. Those are called steps in the journey. And on the journey today, Eric, what stippy steps? What
stippy steps?
One small step for a man, one giant leap for turtle kind. Are we reviewing?
Are we reviewing? All right. So we're all the way back in December of 1995, and this is something that is we acquired through our cool uncle, and it's a really neat piece that I had no idea, and I guess, well, having done stuff that wasn't made in America necessarily, like in the past, like we did the movie 3 manga and some other stuff. I just really hadn't known that there was things that Japan got only, like it was only their thing. Like I thought everything was just, we made it, you take it, and you just make it in your language. And then
we
it's
even
the
started
same thing.
We started to see that even with like the toys. Like now,
we totally did.
We're starting to see the Japanese exclusive toys that we know next to nothing about.
Absolutely,
which makes toy reviews fun.
Oh, it does. Sure. It does. But I'm thinking too, like back in 1995, 10-year-old me, like I've seen Power Rangers, so I know that we get stuff and we appropriate it. But like I didn't fully understand like how it works the other way around, and we're gonna get into that tonight with the Japanese only release of what's called the Mutant Turtles Gaiden comic book. And I don't really know. Let us know in the chat or in a message or whatever if you want to email us, turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. What is definitively the difference between comics and manga. I feel like I should know, but I felt like this. It might be the size. I don't know. We'll get into that later. But nevertheless,
a lot of it is the size. I mean, you read right to left, which
I know that.
Rewire your brain for that.
Yeah, that's fun.
You know what I'm saying?
But
congratulations.
All the research I did designated these as comic books, so so there's that. But we're doing again the Mutant Turtles Gaiden comic chapters 1 and 2 that was published by Dengeki Comics and translated, thankfully, by the Optical Internet Translation Gang. So thanks to them for doing that.
Mark Pellegrini and company.
Indeed,
for sure.
Yes.
The same people that brought us the Optical Internet Translation Gang have brought us, I think, pretty much every manga or Japanese story we've read so far. So,
I believe so, yeah. And
more excellent work out of them today.
Yeah, and you can get more information on all of this at TMNT Entity. Just Google TMNT Entity, and they'll come up, and that's a wealth of knowledge. And it's usually they are the metric by which we we acquire our own stuff, like our own means through our cool uncles and stuff, and then we kind of fact check it through them to see like what's going on, like
as
where
far as
we're
the
at,
timeline goes, and like where we're at, for sure.
Yeah, so definitely thanks to them and check them out, and I'm looking forward to getting through on these things. So yeah. So hey, do we got any emails today?
Fantastic. We do. We do have emails. So Mike Hatfield, if you're listening, we're trying, brother.
Goodness.
We're trying to get your video. Your video's too good to pass up, but apparently is too good for us to play on the live stream for some reason.
Yeah.
So we're going to put another week of R&D into getting to where we can play that video on this thing. And we shall not rest until it is played. However, that will not be today, unfortunately. But your boy Noah, you know what I'm saying? Noah Overton sleeps
I know
in
him.
last minute.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally an hour ago.
Yeah.
Which is pretty great. And drops an email in here.
Okay.
And he says, "Hello, Savage Turtle hosts.
Oh.
Listening to episode 256 here at work today, and I have to tell you guys some of what has happened. First off, was given the craziest look as I laughed out loud several times while listening from some guest employees that don't know me.
Oh, that makes me feel
Then
so
to
good.
learn later, oh, I love it. I love it. Yes, like I have like full on like at like podcasts. I full on like people are like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Then to later learn that during lunch they asked some others if I was a little crazy. Apparently they did not see I had an earbud in and thought I was talking to myself and then laughing out loud for almost 3 hours. Yeah, that episode was like the longest episode. There was a lot of coptuness going on. There was a lot of things. Here we go. As far as the waterbed talk, now we got into waterbeds.
Oh, yeah, we did.
It was thrust upon us on last episode. We had to really get into waterbeds. As far as waterbed talk went, I have to let you know that when I was a teen, from about 12 to 17, I had a waterbed. Of course you did.
Yeah.
Noah, of course you had a waterbed, man. I mean, like that just makes so much sense.
When we first met Noah, the first thing I said, Ryan, after we were like, oh, Noah, this guy Noah, he's like in the show. Okay, cool. I bet he had a waterbed.
Yeah.
First thing, swear to God.
First thing I said.
First thing.
Yep. Then I said, I bet you at some point he missed out on being Rocky in a Rocky Horror recreation, and then has been cursing himself ever since. And then it took me years to find out that that's true. It was a gift to me when my dad had to switch out to a regular bed for his back. There is so much that made sense to me to have it. I grew up in Sacramento, where the summer days were above 100 degrees and nights stayed regularly in the 80s. Okay, cool, Florida.
Yeah.
Sleeping on a bare waterbed was so soothing due to the temperature. See, I could see that. I can also attest that learning to do the deed on a waterbed was not only interesting but crazy in its own right. One of the things that still stands out in my head is taking all the blankets and sheets off and covering the bed and ourselves with baby oil.
Oh! Goodness, that took a turn. I did not expect that.
Noah, needless to say, it was an incredibly awkward time as we were both new to everything and then jumping right into this whole slip and slide experience. When all was said and done, I had a whole new appreciation of her body, my body, and acrobatics in general. Also, I'd love to see a more adult version of the Turtles for sure. Not like sexual or babe talk and stuff, but I'd love to see a very dark and violent story with some hard-hitting issues. Your Northern California correspondent, Noah. So you can't you can't
just
follow up. You can't follow up.
Where do you go?
It's like I had a whole new appreciation of her body, my body, and acrobatics in general.
Right.
And then just drop a line and go, also, I'd love to see a more adult version of the TMNT. You can't do Noah. You can't do that.
That paperclip should have came up. That paperclip should have came up and said something to you about that. But
no. Are you gonna hurt yourself? Or something? Like I don't know. Of course, Noah. I mean, I've often shared this on the podcast. I mean, I love dark and gritty versions of the Turtles, but I like how your mind led you. You know what I'm saying to this. I can't. The baby oil.
Yeah. So
just the thought of that. It had to be. I mean, you. I feel like for most of the time you had to be like ships in the night. I feel like for most of that it was like whip, 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 whip. Like no contact's really being made. It's just you're just like in this cycle
of
like having to try to slow down your own momentum of like just like slipping over. Jeez. Anyway,
Goodness,
that was
that's
from
amazing.
Noah. Noah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Noah.
That
definitely.
waterbed. I knew you had it. And you were a muscle man back in the day, so I know you had that baby oil just sitting around.
Just there.
That's
just
the other
there.
thing about Noah. You know that Noah, like, non-ironically had baby oil, like, there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Because your boy back in the day. Your boy back in the day used to oil those muscles up. You know what I'm saying? And, and I like that it all came about organically. You know what I'm saying? At least that's how I'm gonna keep it in my head. If y'all got any more waterbed stories that aren't too graphic, please let us know.
Yeah, that's why we have
some that are graphic. We'll just read them ourselves.
Right, and that's why we have the graphic at the beginning of the show saying that Turtle Soup is for the adult turtle fan. That because we get a little blue sometimes.
Hey, I thought that was pretty roughly clean.
Oh, totally clean. No, I wasn't putting aspersions on it or anything. I was just saying.
You are aspersions. You're an aspersion. Got it.
You got me. I'm burnt up. I'm burnt up like a Dago piece of toast.
There's a doornail. So I understand that we have news.
We do, and I'm gonna try this. We're gonna see if it works. If it doesn't, forgive us.
Make it awkward.
But I'm gonna make it awkward. I'm making it as awkward as putting baby oil in a waterbed.
I'll put baby oil in your waterbed. Got him.
All right.
It worked.
Look, the news kind of worked.
The news.
Yes, the news.
Yeah.
We're here. Oh, so
the news. Eric, take us away.
So thanks for tuning in. So many new things are happening in the news with Turtle Toys, especially at this time of the year. This is the San Diego. Well, generally, it's the San Diego Comic-Con time of the year where every toy company comes out. Thank you. What did I say? Did I say something else weird? Did I just say San Diego?
You said Comic-Con. Which
right.
Which I guess for some of the prices they charge, it could consider
feels like
a Comic-Con.
Exactly.
Go call go call the coptunist.
Right. tell him you saw somebody on the double. So much stuff has been happening, and there's only more that's going to be coming. But we want to talk about three things tonight, and that are near and dear to us and other Turtletarians, I would hope. So first things first. Playmates Toys, Ryan, they're coming out, they're reissuing all the old toys again, or at least like the first wave so far, or at least, I'm sorry, I'm going to back up again. The first 4 Turtles and the Turtle Van, the Party Wagon. This thing, it's all the same artwork from what I could see. I found the article on toynewseye.com, and they were saying that the figures will be $13 give or take, and the van will be about $35 give or take. They have the links up to like the placeholder links, but you can't get anything yet. All you can do is just let Walmart know that you want an email whenever they get it in. So like that's, I don't know. It feels like they keep going back to the well, which honestly, like, I don't blame them. I mean, it's an asset that they have that is really good. Like those first Turtles figures are iconic, and the card art is gorgeous, and your boy is gonna get that Turtle Van. Like I'm fairly confident NECA is going to tell us in the near future they're making a Turtle Van, but it's not going to have that original artwork on it. From what by all means,
a whole other
whole other thing. So I think I have to get it because like. A little bit behind the curtain, I'm doing some extra work to come up with some stuff for the YouTube channel, and it's involving me going back through and looking at the old artwork and stuff, and it is a nostalgia trip. Like I know I'm not speaking to anybody, like this isn't like news to anybody necessarily, but for me, like, you know, we reviewed these toys like ages ago, and seeing them again. And like finding like higher res images of them and like just like marveling over like the artwork, it's oh my god, it just warms me up inside. And so seeing that Turtle Van up there where I'm like, all right, you know, $35, if I have that in my house and every time I see it, it sparks joy, then sure, why the hell not, you know? So, yeah, that's going to be coming up here in the near future. I'm thinking in a month or two probably, if not a little sooner. But and they more than likely will be in stores, but it's hard to say at this point. The toy aisles, if you haven't been in the toy aisles lately, they've been kind of weird because COVID threw a wrench in everything. But yeah, so there's that from the Playmates angle. And now to the NECA side of things. So if you're not familiar, NECA, they do high-end, mostly movie and like Godzilla stuff and like toys, and they do Golden Girls and all that. But most notably, especially right now, they do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles based on the figures based on the 1987 animated series. And they are fantastic. They come with all these accessories. They look great. However, the problem has been that they are Target exclusives. And that is where the problem lies, because exclusives are hard to get, and it also makes it even harder when you have scalpers that come along and they buy everything, especially if they work at Target. And so they've made it harder for people to get things and acquire things, because your boy has been, practicing all the social distancing and the mask and the vaccine and everything.
Oh, yeah.
However, the plastic crack addiction is real. So I've had to navigate through the hordes of, mouth breathers and no maskers and all this stuff to try to find some of these things. And I look out every once in a while with some Turtletarians like Robbie James and some other people, like, they holler at me and let me know when they see things, or they even hook me up, like in the sense of like, a trade and whatnot. So thankfully I'm pretty caught up, but there was one thing that eluded me, and it was the 4-pack of the Turtles in Disguise set where that they just released, like probably, I don't even know, like 3-4 months ago or something like that. And yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, this was supposed to be their San Diego set that they do every year. They do like a set of the 4 Turtles, or some big set they do. And I think this was the one that was supposed to be this year. It might have been, I can't remember, but nevertheless, it came out, and it was just, if you found it, then it was like a white whale, like like a unicorn, like you weren't going to see it again, so you needed to get it. I hadn't had the privilege of seeing it in person, and NECA had been kind of like, on hush mouth about whether or not they were going to announce if they were going to put a pre-order out. Well, Ryan, rest assured, NECA did come through, and they announced that earlier this week. They announced that there's going to be a 2-week window at the NECA store to pre-order this set, and it's a pre-order, so it's going to be shipped later, but you can secure your set, and that pleased me well. I'll just say that, because this set is chock full of all these accessories and like different hands and faces, and it's got the white face disguise that the Turtles wear a lot in the show.
Oh,
and
yes.
So it's great, and everyone who has it seems to love it. And it's got different facial expressions for the Turtles, and they come with jeans, which I think they're soft goods too. So like soft good jeans, I mean, good jeans are good jeans, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
you can't argue with that. So, but along with that, the Punk Frog set that came out recently of Rasputin and Genghis, they are also up for pre-order if you haven't been able to find them yet. However, I lucked out with Robbie James sent me a set that I paid him for, and it was equivalent exchange, if you will. And but then it was inevitable that as soon as I received it, went to Target, showed up on the shelf, and I'm like, there it was, right there. But you know what? My buddy Robbie came in clutch for me, so I appreciate that. And that's what friendship's all about. And that's what Turtle Soup's all about, is friendship and family.
You should have bought it and then paid it forward.
I should have, but I can't. I just don't pay forward. I can't. I can pay backwards. I can pay things back, but I can't pay forward. It's weird. I don't know. But thankfully, NECA's going to be paying some stuff forward, even more stuff. So lastly, in our big story tonight, NECA has announced their, let me see if I get this right, Comic-Con panel. And it will be at it'll be on Monday. I think it's Monday. Is Monday the 19th? One way or the other. It's July 19th, 2021, the year of our Lord, at 1 p.m. Eastern.
That would be a Monday.
That would be Monday. Okay, cool. Confirm Monday. So that's going to be this Monday. That's coming up Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be on their YouTube channel, according to the thing that they sent out. They also sent out a little flyer for it, basically just like promoting it. and it's like got an image of what looks like like a silhouette of Shredder, like standing over some like text, and the text reads for the it says there's another quote. It says Turtle Power Panel with TMNT brand manager Trevor Zammit. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Trevor did. I might be off on this, but I have a feeling that he did an interview with the Fwoosh, and he let out a bunch of stuff that's going to be coming out, and like stuff that they have, and like kind of teased a bunch of stuff. Didn't really confirm anything, but gave us a lot of hope. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the same guy. But more specifically, this flyer, brochure, pamphlet, page, picture, whatever, that they put out said, it goes into detail saying unmasking new figures, colossal reveals, exclusives special report, and the future and the future of TMNT. So I kind of want to get into that a little bit with you, Ryan. Just because like you and I, we nitpick things. That's what our show is all about. We dig into the details, and we get our fingers dirty and everything else dirty. And we want to look into things and find the hidden details that are there. So off the bat, first thing they start off with, unmasking new figures. I don't think there's anything there, but do you see anything? Do you feel like there's anything underlying there, or do you think that that's probably up on Front Street right there?
No, I think that they'll probably wind up unmasking whatever they haven't, like whatever they've shown in silhouette, but not like fully revealed.
Okay,
you might see some of that. The unmasking word makes me think that it's literally something to do with masks. So
that's what I was thinking.
That's the hidden thing.
Right.
So it could be, and given that they dropped that silhouette of Shredder, it could be a Shredder from the movie that has a removable mask or helmet,
or something from like the past.
Because something from the past, because we have seen his head, and his face in the movie. So I feel like that might be a thing. But given that it says unmasking new figures, makes me wonder what else could be unmasked. But I feel like there's something to the unmasking word.
That's what I'm thinking. I think there's something there, but I don't know. I don't have anything off the dome like to recall, because they did show us recently that they have Hamato Yoshi and Oroko Saki from movie 1 coming out. So so that's gonna be cool. Now, I just thought about it. So an unmasking could be the Turtles suit actors with their heads off. So you have Ernie Reyes Jr. I think it might could.
Yeah,
it might could. It's up there, but it's still unmasking. It's a stretch, but it's unmasking.
A little bit of a stretch.
A little bit of a stretch. I'll give you that.
But I mean, I guess that's what that's what speculation's for.
That's what speculation's for, right? And I live for speculation. So, continuing with our speculation, Ryan, colossal reveals. Like, do you think that means like in figure size, like how we're going to get like a massive Chrome Dome figure? Do you think they're talking about that, or do you think that they're just meaning like overall just like a lot of reveals?
Well, my first thought was that they were going to do an X-Men crossover with Colossus.
Oh, right. That's true. First thought.
But pinning that, my second thought is, I would say that here colossal reveals probably means something bigger.
Okay.
In size. I mean, you could have a Krang. Like, I think Krang would be an obvious character that would be colossal. Right.
Because we have the version of him that's bigger than the Turtles, but not like the one that I remembered, which was the big one. So there could be that. That's absolutely true. I wonder if it might mean vehicles. I'm curious if that could possibly be something, because they have talked about it, or at least teased that they want to do it. They had talked about doing the party wagon, right? At some point, about, like, going back and looking at that colossal. I mean, I don't know if they get into something as big. I don't know if they. Well, I mean, if you look at big things in the TMNT universe and you're going to go colossal, you'd be talking about the Turtle Blimp or the Technodrome. Indeed,
like, those are
absolutely
the colossal things.
That is true.
Or potentially, I just don't see Nick going into this, but you could have like a. I always wondered if they would ever get into doing sets from the films because they've gone into the movies at this point.
Oh, okay.
Like if they would do sets like the sewer from the first movie,
right,
or more importantly, the sewer from the second film, because
yeah,
that's a lot more. You know, I feel like that sewer is more iconic.
Absolutely.
With the train station and everything. I mean, it's just very like iconic. I just don't know if that really fits into what NECA would do. I don't know if there's much selling power behind like this is an accurate recreation of the sewer set from TMNT 2. I just don't see if that's a thing.
Yeah.
So Colossal, but vehicles could be a little different. We just haven't seen them do much of that, although they have indicated that they're looking to do it. But Colossal to me means like it's got to be huge. So it could be more about Chrome Dome and potentially a larger Krang. But I see them sticking mainly to figures for this. So I think you'd probably see like a Krang. That's my guess.
Interesting. Okay. Exclusives special report.
Yeah, that means nothing to me.
Okay, so to me,
I don't know why. All these are cool, and then there's that one where I'm like, exclusives special report. So all that means is more Target exclusives, more Walmart exclusives, or whatever. That's all that means. Like that doesn't mean those are the ones that kind of irritate me a little bit. Because they're obviously just like capitalistic tie-ins with brick and mortar stores. Because please go to brick and mortar stores. And like those are the things that start to rub me the wrong way as far as availability goes. So unless they're talking about some other exclusives, for me it's like special report. Like what? Okay. So tell me more about how special the figures that you won't be able to find at your Walmart or Target are going to be.
Right. Okay.
And tell me more about how special they'll be on the aftermarket.
Okay,
because I didn't get their day and date, or I couldn't go to the store because I'm not vaccinated or something like that.
Right.
So there you go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's kind of like the gut thing that I think that most people probably picked up on this, and it's definitely what they're probably going to talk about. I initially read it as if they were going to address, like it felt like they were going to address the problems, like, or at least like say, hey, look, like these are exclusive still. It's still going to be a thing, but like, look at how we've been putting them out. So we're also going to be putting them out. So don't stress out about this. Like we can confirm that, like hard confirm that these will be, like we're telling you right here, they're going to be released at Target first, and then they will show up on the NECA store. Like I wonder if they brokered some sort of deal to where they could finally say that.
Well, that's not really an exclusive then.
It's not, but it's still what we've been seeing with everything.
Like, imagine if I told you, "Hey Target, hey Eric, I'm gonna strike an exclusive deal with you to sell my toys," and you're like, "Awesome." I'm like, the only caveat is we're gonna sell them after. You'd be like, well, that's not very exclusive.
No, I understand. It's just that the way that, and that makes perfect sense on paper. However, recently we've seen Hasbro putting out their G.I. Joe Target exclusives, like so Target has the Cobra Island figures, which are like. That's all, you can only get them at Target. And then Hasbro's like, all right, on our website, after a while, now they have them. And then Target just put them up on their website again as this big summer thing of like your last chance to get things. So I wonder if it's going to be some sort of thing where like that's just the way that the business is working now, where they realize that this is causing too much turmoil to have these exclusives. Because I know with the He-Man Masters, what are they calling it? The new 7-inch line from the Kevin Smith Netflix show, the Masterverse stuff. Each store has exclusives, but one gets one before the other does, and it's kind of like that's a thing now that they do. So I wonder if it's going to be some more like clarification on that, and possibly like in hopes of like just confirming to people that like don't kill yourself going and getting this stuff because you'll have a chance to get it. But it does kind of undercut the whole purpose of it. I just don't know why they would say.
I think it's going to be hype train. I think it's going to be hype train. It's going to be like, look at all these sick exclusives. And it's probably going to be after they unmask and reveal the Colossus. They'll be like, and then only at Target.
Right.
Or something like that. I don't see them. I mean, I will say that NECA has done a lot to address the problems with scalpers and the problems with availability and the click contest. And all those things. And I want to commend them for that, because a lot of companies still sell products like that and haven't said a thing about it and don't care. So while I can't drag NECA for their reaction, what I will say is, like, I would be very surprised if this was anything different than just a hype fest for the figures that you're going to have to really dig for, and that doesn't interest me very much.
Right. I mean, and one last thing about this is that the whole line of the cartoon series have been exclusive Target stuff. Like, you couldn't get them anywhere else except for on NECA's site. So I'm curious. Sure. There's something fishy there, but that I'm interested to see how that's going to turn out. And speaking of how things
have money, want thing.
Precisely.
Like that at the end of the day, I mean,
that's what it is.
Like, have money, want thing. I don't understand what's so hard sometimes to for those companies to understand about that.
Right.
So yeah. Like, so have money, want thing, but it's like, oh, but also special hoops to jump through to get thing.
Right.
And it's just ridiculous.
It is. So hopefully that they'll put some things, give it to rest, and like they'll give us some more like some more hope in the sense that we don't have to be like so dire straits about like trying to find this stuff. But in even more detail, I hope they go into this next one with the future of the TMNT, of their role with TMNT. So I feel like they wouldn't put this on like a hype, like, a hype post or whatever, if it was going to be a bad thing. Like, I feel like they wouldn't be like, yeah, we lost the license, so we're going to be telling you about the future of it. And, it just doesn't ring true. And it's been so successful, only some bureaucratic bullshit would probably be the thing that would impede the future of TMNT with them. But what do you think? Do you have any thoughts on this, or what?
Adventures win.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Yeah. That would be great.
The future of TMNT, I mean, like, obviously they're gonna be hollowing out the films for all they can, for sure. I want to get back to Mirage also.
Yeah.
Because that's really where NECA made their bones to start with the TMNT, right?
Absolutely.
With those infamous NECA Mirage Turtles.
Yep.
So I would say the future of TMNT, I guess what I would like to see out of it is more comic based stuff. I understand that doesn't necessarily sell. Like, I get that a lot of people are buying a lot of this stuff. It is all very, like, at the end of the day, it is kind of based on if someone's collecting figures, even your casual turtle fan might want this, right? Versus like doing things that are super obscure. But I would like to see them branch out a little bit in that direction. But I don't know exactly what the future holds for NECA with the TMNT. But I given that they have been doing research and stuff into vehicles, makes me wonder if that's not a big part of the future.
Oh, I think so.
You have all these figures. Let's look into the vehicle aspect of it.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I definitely think that Adventures is on the horizon somewhere, because like no one else, Super 7's doing the Playmates toys, the reissues of those, like the remix of those, I should say. Playmates has their reissues. And then you have the odd company like DC Direct or whatever did some of the Batman team up stuff that they did, but I think that going back to Mirage and like fully getting into that, giving us like a real Baxter, giving us like
real Baxter, real Mousers, Bloodsucker win.
That would be amazing.
Like, let's go. Even though I know they can't because Rick Vitch and all that stuff. But I mean,
right?
Like,
but still,
just win for a lot of things.
And so
that I would love to see it.
Right. And they've still got a lot to go with the cartoon. Like, there's still a ton of things they haven't done yet. And the movies, they're kind of running out of things. I mean, you've got like Paige Turco that they need to make. They got Ernie Reyes Jr. that they're definitely going to make at some point for Aquino.
We still need to see like Elias Codius, right? Fully revealed. Has he been fully revealed?
He's
yet?
been
like the full figure.
I don't think that he's had like glamour shots done or anything, or promo shots.
That's your unmask. That's one of your unmaskings.
But they've already shown They've already shown him. So it could be that. You could be right, but they have shown his face unmasked. They have shown it. It's just that it was in a picture with April, and he's there. And it's like, but they haven't done a proper, like, here he is with all his accessories and stuff.
They need to reveal his colossal hands. and how they need to bridge
what if
that
that's
gap.
what it is? What if that's what it is? That'd be amazing.
That should be, if he doesn't have alternate hands that manage to make it from like April O'Neil's very back of her shoulder all the way down to dangerously close to her chest. If that's not an alternate
what's the
sculpt
point?
for a hand.
Right.
Then what are we doing here?
What are we doing here? Yeah, what are we doing?
Why are we even doing this? Yeah.
So yeah, well, yeah, those are awesome thoughts. I think that this is going to be exciting. So again, that's going to be on Monday the 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And so be on YouTube and checking that out, because if you're here, you can go subscribe to them and then come back, or just stay here and then do it afterwards. Who knows? Yeah. Who cares? Whatever you want to do.
Stay here, do it afterwards.
Oh, there you go. That's what you should do.
There's your answer.
So, all right, well, that's the news. So thanks, everybody. And, back to our regularly scheduled program, I think. Something like that. And we're back from the news.
Man, that news.
Man, that was good. Thanks, guys, for the news guys, our news team.
Thanks, Ryan and Eric. News version of Ryan and Eric. We appreciate that.
We appreciate it. So,
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get into some comics?
I think
Japanese variety.
Sir? I think so. I think I am. Let me make sure everything is good to go. I think everyone can hear, and here we go. All right.
It is 1995.
Woo!
You're in Japan. You're looking through the comic book section. You're like, man, there are so many badass manga books to grab. Manga, comics, who knows the difference? You're Japanese. You do know. We don't. But you're seeing through an American's ignorant eyes. You're looking through the stand.
That's what you go to Turtle Soup for.
You're like, how many waifus could I have? And then you come across this cover of this comic, and you realize you found her, at least today. And this would be Chapter 1 of the Mutant Turtles Gaiden comic from Dengeki Comics. This is Chapter 1 from December of 1995. Let's start with the cover. Let's start with the cover, because this was what you put in your bag, and you're like, is there a body pillow for this? Must check. Body pillow win is typically, that's kind of what you're demanding on the ancient internet. It is 95. There is the internet. It's very proto-internet.
It is.
You're on there in your forum, message BBS saying body pillow April waifu win. What do you think about this cover, buddy?
So this cover's neat. The first thing I love, April looks cool. Very, anime-esque style to it. The title of the book that is in Japanese that I can only assume says Mutant Gaiden Turtles, or Mutant Turtles Gaiden, is delightful in my opinion, and also kind of fearful in a weird way. It's making me feel very strange, because the text itself, or the kanji, it has the turtle shell look to it, as per usual for that font, but the first letter has presumably Raphael's bandana with his eyes with pupils in them.
With pupils done in the animated series style, when nothing else in this book looks anything like that.
Absolutely. But the way that they're done, if you probably had a whole face with it, it wouldn't look so scared. But Sans face, it looks like
you think it looks scared. I think it looks like, hey.
I can see that, but for some reason, that my first thought is that it looks like it's tied up in the basement somewhere and being like, help me, but it's on hush mouth, it can't talk, so and it doesn't have a mouth here, obviously, but
it didn't put the lotion on its skin.
It did not. It totally did not.
So it knows that we're getting the hose again.
Exactly.
Basically.
Precisely.
I could see that. The color's beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
The turtles faces aren't my favorite. I don't know what it is with the beak. The beak's got funny sometimes. Almost I wish I could go in and erase the edge of the beak that makes it look like a weird upper lip.
Oh, okay.
I wish I could just erase the little black curl that comes up on Raph and Mikey, and wish they looked more like Donnie, and I'd be in better shape.
Okay. Yeah.
for that. But I mean, you really can't fault the art in a lot of ways. And the cover, like I said, I mean, you bought it when you were there because I mean, well, not you, but our Japanese person in question, because it just jumped off the newsstand. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And we talked before about how cool it kind of had to be to know of the Turtles, but then get your own like interpretation from like your own like artists in your own language. Like that'd be super cool.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially knowing just by looking at it, I'm sure at the time that this wasn't American. This is like your take on it, and I love it. We also have access to, I believe, is the back cover of the book, which we've seen a similar layout in other Dengeki comics before. Of this, like it looks like the top, or I guess it's the back hatch of the party wagon.
Yes,
it kind of look with the turtles there. With the same, Mutant Turtles Gaiden kind of like logo they've got going on.
Right.
But I appreciate that. And by the way, these scans are available online for free. These come from the Optical Internet Translation Gang, which is we will give full credit to right now because it's at the end of the book, and I just want to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Credits for the release here. Go and check out tmntentity.blogspot.com. That is where Mark Pellegrini calls home. I don't know if it's currently active, but it was for a very long time. It is a infinite resource of Turtles knowledge, completionist knowledge, and it's one of the things that we use as a kind of a guide rail to make sure we're on the right track. This is editor, cleaning, and bubbles. Would be Cryomancer. Translation, Mark Pellegrini. Raw provider, Adam Winters. And once again, these are available online. So your cool uncle is very forgiving. You don't even need a cool uncle. You know what I'm saying? Just find them.
Yeah, just find them.
But yeah, great work here, and yeah, we'll get started with the book. So the book is in black and white, and once again, Mark Pellegrini and gang, kind of erased as part of Cryomancer's job. I'm sure was erasing all of the kanji from the bubbles and inserting it with their translations.
Right.
Now, manga, obviously, once again, you read right to left. The way these books are formatted, you still read front to back. But like, so, full manga is like back to front of the book, right to left. But if you pick up these scans like we did, it's a little mixture of American and Japanese style. So you read right to left, but you flip page 1, 2, 3, 4 like that in that order. So it's strange. So what you open on is excellent layouts, and I'll say that this book's layouts are great, and that's one of my favorite things about it. I think. You have you have April hurriedly running away from some goons. As she says, the secret of the Foot Clan. This will be my biggest scoop yet. She's running away. If I live to tell about it, and you see her run into a proto Bebop, which you can tell by his styling with the nose ring, stuff like that. Love this interpretation of Bebop. Spoiler, they do wind up kind of giving up, I guess, their own unique version of his origin story. Him and Rocksteady both in this book. Which kind of like settles into this book. Truly is like, this is our own origin for the whole thing. This follows most of the 1987 animated series rulebook.
Right.
So you've got Bebop and Rocksteady, obviously, which don't appear anywhere else. You have April O'Neil, the reporter. But they do their own weird thing with it. So what you see is this excellent illustration of Bebop, basically with a knife threatening April, looking like things are going to get real bad. Love the image of her in the bottom of this page. Just screaming. It's just such a great interpretation of her.
Absolutely.
And the turtles show up. Whoop. And you get issue 1. The turtles drop in, and boy, do they ever! You know what I'm saying? Now, you can tell by when they drop in that they don't know April yet.
Yeah.
And this is different than every other manga comic we've read with them so far, by Dengeki and one other publisher that published another one, where it's more of a a story out of the 87 animated series,
Right.
type timeline. This is like origin book.
Mm-hmm.
So the turtles drop in and say, we four are the Ninja Turtles. They all introduce themselves, and we're here to avenge our father. And you're like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is how Mirage starts.
It is.
So that's cool. But it's weird because it's done in a different order. It's weird. So you effectively see the turtles whipping that Foot Clan ass, and that happens.
Yeah.
And then you cut to April on the news, and she says, and that's what my four rescuers called themselves. This city is in the middle of a crime wave caused by the mysterious Foot Clan. Who are these four turtles, and what is their connection to the Foot? Please stay tuned for a follow-up report. And sorry, God, I got something down my throat.
Something got you. Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, the one thing that I will say that is pretty neat about the whole Japanese take on our stuff, especially, is that they expedite a lot of their story. Like it's for certain like expediency purposes, like just to like or to move everything along, and we start to see that as we get further along. But yeah, you were talking about how like they don't know her yet and this and that, and yeah, they very quickly get to know her, but like it's the way they handle it. It's like you're happy that the way it's done is great, or it's fine, but it's just interesting that they what things they decide to slow down on and what things they speed past. And yeah,
because she's on channel 6, and you see her name get called, and of course this is her meeting with Chief Byrne. You know what I'm saying? Byrne Thompson, if you know him. And basically he's like pulling this whole thing where he's like, look, you said you want a live broadcast because you got a scoop, but this like Turtles conspiracy and all this crime conspiracy crap, like this isn't a scoop, this is just conspiracy bullshit. Right. And April's like, that's not true. I have proof of it. And he's like, well, you better have something by tomorrow, or you won't be reporting anything but the weather. You know what I'm saying?
Which sounds like, is that a thing in news? Like, is that a thing where like you get punished by being demoted to meteorologist and or just reporting the weather?
Well, I think there's a big difference between being a meteorologist and reporting the weather.
That's why I changed it when I said it. As soon as I said it, I realized no wait, there's a difference there.
Demoted to meteorologist. It was just like, today will be sunny, high 77. You're watching channel 6, like just giving the meteorologist like, read this. I'm too busy drinking. How bad the weather is. I don't know if that's what meteorologists do. I'm wrong half the time. They still pay me. Give me another drink.
Right. Exactly.
That's such a boomer joke.
I love it.
But yeah, so she leaves with like a resolve. Like she's going to show Chief Byrne that she means business. So later in the sewer, the turtles are watching the footage. The live. I guess sometimes the live reporting from April about their hijinks, and Mikey is very quick to say, check it out. You told us we weren't ready, but we kicked their butts. And the other turtles are like, oh God. And then Leo has to kind of apologize to Splinter, who's there in the foreground, that they allowed themselves to be filmed.
Right.
And Splinter's pretty understanding about it. I mean, he does the roll call, here on page 10, like Leonardo, and this is Leonard.
Right.
There's a couple just small like spelling errors in this. One time April says April O'Neil singing off instead of signing off. I think it's really funny.
That's amazing.
It's somewhere in here.
That's amazing.
But Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael. Right. It is the leader of the Foot Clan you must be most cautious of, and the Shredder, and you see a pretty cool. Once again, this is their own origin story. So they've flipped the script a bit. So Splinter says, "I was too old and my body too weak to defeat him then." And you see a kind of a grainy image or a memory of of Hamato Yoshi like down on his like knees, mouth streaming blood, with Shredder saying "prepare to die."
Right.
Now you don't know exactly like the fact that later on Shredder's kind of blown out that Hamato Yoshi's still alive. You're kind of like, well, I mean, you obviously didn't kill him dead because you could have just done that when he was on the ground, hush mouth, like you know what I mean, like burn up a piece of toast. You know what I mean? You could have just taken care of it. But yeah, and Shredder is shown in the same garb he wears throughout these stories, which is interesting too, because the original, obviously, like the original, even the animated series origin would have Hamato Yoshi and Oroku Saki almost as peers.
Yeah, contemporaries.
This also goes back to Mirage as well. They were peers. I mean, things play out very different in Mirage versus the 87 animated series origin. But here he is shown very old. And Shredder is shown apparently much younger and more virile.
Right.
Now that could have more of a closer connection to Mirage, because remember that technically Oroku Saki was not the one that had the toss-up with Hamato Yoshi. In Mirage, Hamato Yoshi killed his older brother Oroku Nagi. And that Oroku Saki grew up and came and got him and Tang Shin in a form of revenge.
Right.
This feels more like that kind of old man Hamato Yoshi and younger Oroku Saki. But it's never really explained.
No.
But he goes on to kind of tell the Turtles about Shredder. And they're like, well, now it's time to take him on. You can count on us, which is very also kind of borrows from the Mirage origin in the fact that in Mirage 1, I mean, Splinter's basically like, you have to go avenge me. Like, go through a brick through his window, kids. And they do that. And that's how the whole sordid affair gets started, right? But it was definitely like, avenge me because I can't do it myself, and basically payback's a bitch. These streets don't forget. You know what I'm saying? But now, even though just earlier, like the Turtles, like kind of sprightly introduced themselves, saying they're here to avenge their father, they're given their mission now, which is weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, so coming back, we go back to Shredder's hideout, where I mean, upon information and belief, I mean, it looks like he tries to slice like Bebop into two pieces.
It does,
but I guess only really succeeds in like, I guess, slapping him or something. I'd love to know what the kanji says like on the swipe,
because there's something that he's cutting. He's definitely cutting something. There's like sections of it that are cut off, but I can't tell what that is. But he may have
gotten a hold of like
some salami or something. You think
he didn't cut like Bebop? He cut maybe he cut into a post that was there, like a it looks like something that's like standing.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like it was like a concrete pole or like a some kind of post is what he's cutting anyway.
So the one thing I wanted to mention too that I'm curious, do you see the guy that's on our screen? It's the far right. That he's wearing like the army jacket and he's got the messy blonde hair. Is that Rocksteady? Because I feel like that's Rocksteady, right? Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure.
I feel like it is. I feel like later on you see him a little more.
Right.
And that does wind up. Yeah, he's the one in the army jacket and the camouflage like pants.
And then
for sure.
What do you think of Shredder's look? I know the next page we're going to get better looks at his face, but I love his look here. It's very clean. It's not too flashy like blades everywhere necessarily, but also that could be the black and white artwork that looks amazing. But I love that his belt kind of looks like an old school Ryder Henshin belt. So I think that's kind of neat. And he definitely has the cape, which is cool. And I always think Shredder needs a cape. Shredder's just always better with a cape.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that I just like his look. And gosh, the art, Bebop, like the bad guys in this just look spectacular. Well, especially as Turtle fans for as long as we've been, like when I'm reading this, I see Bebop as just Bebop. Like I don't even know that he's not a pig yet. I could just tell that's his character, and it's kind of strange to me to think about it that way whenever I have to stop and realize that, oh, he's not mutated yet. That's just Punk or Bebop.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think that's neat. But
he seems to have a leadership role, or he's fought himself up as like the alpha of this like pack of like Foot Clan thugs or whatever, because he's the one that really confronts April with the knife. He's the one that answers for them. And Shredder says, "So Bebop, you claimed that it was Turtles who defeated you." And he's like, "Yeah." And of course, Shredder continues to lose his shit.
Yes.
On the next page, on page 12, we get more of a look at Shredder. I love everything but the upper, like almost the MF Doom type mask he's got on. It's like a combination of like MF Doom and Phantom of the Opera type situation.
That's a good. Okay, that's okay.
I'm not the biggest fan of it. It looks a little bit too much like Doom from the comics. Like, I like him having more of like the face, like the grill. Like I like having more of like the full face.
Like you like it more in the movie style where you can still see his mouth, or do you like it like completely solid?
I like it kind of flat. I like it kind of like without the grill, but like the full face covering. I like it in the animated series a little more. That's not to say that I don't like the grill. It's just the problem with the grill sometimes, like with the actual open mesh grill,
right,
is for whatever reason, it looks like it can look really like outsized if they do it wrong. It can look almost like a prop. There's something about it that doesn't look 100% like normal. But I mean, this is fine. It is a different look. But yeah, it's got a little of that Phantom of the Opera going on.
It definitely does. And one minor thing, he has 3 blades on his claw, on his hands, instead of the normal 2 that we're used to seeing him with.
Yeah.
So that's
and they're longer. They're a little more Wolverine like. They kind of end in like hooks versus them just being like more blade. Like fully hooks themselves.
Yeah.
Which is how they usually are. There's like 2 and they're like medium length and they're always kind of hooked over a little bit. But I still think it's a good look.
I think so too.
So here he says, I
this.
must now hasten my operation, because he's mad. He's like, well, now that you've ran into the turtles, I must now hasten my operation. This city will soon descend into hell. You know what I'm saying? Behold my weather controller.
Yes.
And first of all, in this panel, it literally looks like
I love
a
it so much.
It's like a one-armed bandit. It's like a slot machine.
Yep.
That's one funny thing about it. The second funny thing about it is that you fully, or not really about it, but you get to fully see Bebop's George Washington ponytail. On full display.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? Look, if you're gonna give him the George Washington ponytail, like in your interpretation of him when he's mutated, I demand he have it when he is not mutated. You know what I'm saying? I demand
absolutely
that he has it before that. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
But yeah, Shredder goes on to start pronouncing hell's downpours, followed by hell's longest dry spells, hell's scorching heat, followed by hell's mighty floods. The earth shall grovel at my feet and beg for mercy. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Now, I love how much he has to say hell.
I love it. I love it so much.
Number 2, yeah, this reminds me of like I had a friend at the game shop who was really into 40K, Warhammer 40K, and he was really into the Space Wolves, and every which is a Space Marine chapter, and every year or so, a couple of years, you'd get a new codex, which was like all the rules for your army. And it was like a big deal because like all your rules got updated for all your models. The points changed on every model, all this stuff, right? And they put out new models in the codex. So if it wasn't in the codex, you couldn't play it.
Okay.
So he gets this book, and this is in the dark days of 40K when it was like a really bad game. They were just like taking the piss, literally, like just like. So the whole thing about the Space Wolves is they're obviously very like Viking based, and they have a lot of wolf stuff going on. This book literally had the word murder in it like a million times. And I remember he threw that book in the trash. They made a model of a guy riding a sleigh being drawn by wolves. His name was Murder Fang. on the murder chariot, and then his weapons were called murder claws.
That's
and
too much.
It was basically what this is. Like,
yeah.
he's basically like hell's downpours, hell's longest dry spells, and like it's just he can't let it go. It's like murder claw, murder fang, murder trike, murder murder blood claw, like all this shit.
Right.
And yeah, no, it's pretty great to watch a guy spend $50 on a hardback book and then throw it directly in the garbage.
Oh my
lord. That was a highlight. Now, you're not going to throw this book in the garbage because Shredder means business here.
Yeah.
It is hell's own fury. What I love about it is that, like, if you look at the actual like dials that are available like on the thing,
right?
Like, I mean,
it looks like a slot machine. Like, that's all it looks like.
It does. It's a slot machine. It's a classic. It has 3 rows of wheels that turn. And what kills me is it looks like there's a possibility for just a sunny day.
Yeah. Like, just have it be like a good day.
He can. Or I love that there's an image of like just an umbrella, but there's like no rain. It's like, what is that? Just like a day you don't want the sun on you? Like, are you gonna have like a parasol out there or something? like
yeah.
Some of the art is great. How like, because you can see thunderstorms and rain.
Right.
There's also a possibility for it just to be cloudy all day.
Exactly.
Like, hell zone clouds.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like,
I love it because
it's pretty great.
So and this thing is pretty big. So like, where did Shredder get this? Did Shredder make it himself? Chances are he did not. But nevertheless, whoever built this, either under their own agency, decided that they wanted to give you all the options of weather so that you can have your pick of the litter, if you will. But Shredder comes in and says, "I want sunny day, cloudy day, umbrella day." You know, he lists them all off. Like I don't know. I have so many questions about this.
We'll start off with Hell's downpours first. Right. Then we'll do Hell's mighty floods, and then in the evening, Hell's scorching heat.
Right.
And then tomorrow, you know what I mean? I guess he'll be reading the weather out for everybody.
Right.
But we're gonna see it later on in your issue that, like, even though this is definitely its own thing. Like this is its own like whole origin story. So in this version, I guess, like, Shredder does have access to tech. I don't know how.
Yeah.
But he does. So Shredder calls out Bebop. He's like, "You will capture that reporter, and this time you shall not fail." Then he pulls out a teeny little vial and he goes, "This is called mutagen." And when I first read it, I thought it said, "This is a mutagen," and I about laughed my ass off. But he's like, "Bebop, this time you shall have far greater power." And before Bebop can really do much about it, he sprays this like little vial or whatever, like little plastic vial, into his face, and is dangerously close to its vapors.
Right.
But he's good.
Right.
Because who needs a super shredder right now? You
right,
know what I'm saying? Like, nobody needs that.
Exactly. No, and then his mask doesn't cover his mouth, so it's not like he's like protected from anything airborne. So I guess
he like only breathes through his nose.
It could be
his nose is covered.
His nose is covered, so that could be. We don't know, but like also his hand touches it. So if it's like by contact, like he's actually physically squeezing this like squeeze-it bottle of mutagen into Bebop's face, like. I don't know. It's
like early spy assassination weapons they were coming up with during the Cold War used to involve like a newspaper that had like a packet kind of like that on it, and what you do is you'd walk by somebody, walking on the street, and you would like pop like it was a cyanide gas effectively.
Oh, okay.
And you would kind of use the newspaper to like fan it toward them, and if they breathe that in, like they're gonna die. The problem was that, like, if there was any kind of wind, you're close to it.
Yeah.
So what they wound up developing, which is even scarier, was that same gas capsule, but in the end of an umbrella.
Oh,
and you'd have your umbrella, and you would tip it over and right in their face, but you had the entire umbrella top, like, covering you.
Yeah.
Or, to get you away. Or you were, if it was, like, closed, if it wasn't raining, you had the handle extended all the way out with your arm.
Right.
So you were like 5 feet away from like that puff or whatever, and you could like run away.
Goodness,
But
that's wild.
that's kind of just some of that reminded me of that cyanide gas thing, that assassination, because it's kind of what he does to him.
Absolutely.
And of course, like Bebop transforms in really great artistic style. You see him start to, So this is weird. So now we're on the streets. We're on them streets. Of Japan apparently, and you've no,
it's New York. I think it's New York.
Flag.
Yep.
Yeah, it should be New York. And there's like Toshiba signs everywhere, which I guess back then they were in New York anyway.
Yeah.
But April is trying to get the skinny on
the weather.
I guess like the weatherman or something. I feel like she should know him. It's depicted really weird. Like she's like following this like guy in a suit, and he's saying, "Have you noticed anything strange about the weather lately?"
No, he doesn't say that. And April says that, or Irma, one of the two.
Oh, that's right. April does say it, and he goes, "Huh? Is this going to be on TV?"
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of like walks away, and then we see Irma. We see this universe's interpretation of Irma,
which looks great. I think she
Yeah, she looks great.
She does, and
they don't try to like mouse her up too much. They don't try to make her like emo. Like, why would anyone ever think I was cute, or why would I be a cool character? And she's not annoying, which I really appreciate.
I love that.
She's not like Kimmy Gibbler, because honestly, like the '87 animated series played her up for Kimmy Gibbler way too much.
Absolutely,
and I think she's a good character in her own right.
I think so too.
And she is here. She's definitely strange in this comic. And Irma needs to be strange because April's like no nonsense, all business.
Right.
So
absolutely.
you need somebody who's going to be more
like an oddball,
a little more
but
gregarious.
Yeah.
More of an oddball. Yeah.
But not like
but
not a caricature of her that's too far.
Yeah, because if you go back to Adventures when April teamed up with Oyuki, like she was kind of rough and tumble and kind of like flighty and kind of weird, and she made April look like the kind of like the loose cannon a little bit.
Yeah.
Like she was, but she was like weird and secretive, but she also had like a lot of balls, and she would like run into the middle of crazy stuff, and that was a great pairing because once again it made April a little more of like the straight character like she could be with Irma, but also like Oyuki had her own problems, and April, it was just a really good character interaction.
Absolutely.
But it cast a different light on April. And I feel like making Irma really like Mega Velma, almost to the point of like ridiculousness, doesn't really help April as much as like more of a peer type friend who's also outgoing like April, but maybe distracted by other stuff that April's not, is good, and that's what she is here. So I just want to give good marks to the comic for treating Irma right, because that's important.
Right. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up is that she's talking about the weather. Now, we did just hear Shredder talk about the weather, but we saw somebody else talk about the weather earlier, which was Byrne, and he said that you're going to be covering the weather if you're not careful. So do you think that this is her this is her punishment, that she's got like not demoted, but I guess like just like this is her punishment, I guess, for that?
No, I don't know about that. Because we have no reason to believe that like she didn't come up with the news by the end of this day, like by Byrne's deadline. Okay. I think that he just mentioned the weather, like just offhand, and maybe that got April's mind turning on how weird the weather's been, because like they both talk about it.
Yeah.
And she's probably just covering the story the best she can. But she's also thinking too about that conspiracy too. So I don't necessarily think that she got demoted, but I mean I could see that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But Irma, no, I mean it's an interesting interpretation of it. I mean, like that'd be cool if they worked that in. Like if they just had like a panel of like Byrne being like, well, that's it. Go hit the streets.
Yeah.
Get that weather news. Like I could see April be like, damn it. Right. And then like the weather would the freaky weather would bring her back to the conspiracy. I can see that.
Exactly.
So Irma steps up and she's like, this weather has been pretty freaky. And that's true. And I guess she went for the voice of the city. She's like, I'm not going to get answers from the voice of the city, which I don't even know who that is.
I think that just means
she says that.
I think that means people, like just people in the crowd, like just the people walking.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I related that to like the guy she tried to talk to.
Right, because the way that you're not wrong for that, because the way it kind of the art is, it looks almost as if like he is supposed to be somebody, but I literally think he's just some guy in the street she was trying to get
that makes
like
sense.
a hot take from, and so that's my interpretation of it. So
she looks like she's in front of the UN.
It does. Like, it totally does.
It's missing like every flag
except for America.
Yep. But she goes, this is bizarre though. The rain has been unusual. In one moment it's a dog day, and the next is 10 below,
right? Which
is interesting. So there's a lot of Irma being like, April, what you think? And April, look at me. April, look at me. Tell me what you think. And she's kind of like thinking in her head, like, is this connected to the conspiracy I was talking about? Could I not lose my job over this? And all of a sudden, Irma, which this is the Irma I like. This is awesome. There is a gargantuan man walking amongst all these people in the city wearing like short dresses and like short sleeve shirts because it's so hot.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, April, that guy's got to be burning up in a coat like that. Let's go over and interview him. And she starts to try to interview him about why he's wearing this coat and like what are his thoughts on the strange weather lately. And then it looks like he flashes them.
It does. And that's what it's supposed to
because he's got the trench coat. And that's what it's supposed to be. And you see April's kind of like classic, like, manga reaction to like, to the opening of the trench coat. I'm sure that's what they imagined they were going to see.
Right.
But no, it is just one of the coolest depictions of Bebop, I think. Like, Jesus says like, to hide what I looks like. Why else? And he like comes out, looks awesome. I like the addition of the cup. Like the sports cup that he's wearing over his jeans.
Oh yeah,
You don't normally see that on Bebop, and I really like that because, like,
I don't recall.
I mean, it's a little bit my man.
Oh yeah,
but also it kind of makes sense that like that, like honestly, if you're strong like he is, even when he was like a human, when you're a big like buff guy like that, probably one of the only weak spots you have is your crotch.
Precisely.
So like it may make a lot of sense to wear a cup because you're like, yeah, you can't actually mess with me. Like you can't like I'm covering up my only weakness. You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, obviously they probably drew it this way because it's an added detail as opposed to just pants crotch. That there's not much there. But like it's also kind of punk to wear like that on the outside. I would think, or I could see him thinking that it's a little bit more because like his whole get up is like trying to make you feel uncomfortable and try to like make you feel like strange. And so I could totally see that. I didn't notice that until you just pointed it out. I don't normally pay attention to Bebop's crotch, but I'm glad you pointed that out for me. That really it's a valid point. My man.
My man.
My man. So but that is a valid point that would be his one weakness, would be his genitals. And so
so now it's Irma's turn to scream like the Dickens, and I love it because like this actually is like the only thing that really works on Bebop. Like, he has to like cover his ears,
right?
And he's like, "They can hear you in Jersey, lady," because she's just like going off.
Yeah.
And this other panel I really like too, where he's like, I'm ready for you this time, Reporter Goyle. You're coming with me, and like she remembers, and you see like the image of him grabbing April, and you see like kind of a superimposed image of him as a human behind, and it's like that's like it's supposed to represent like April's memory of like that's the same guy that came at me in the alley with the knife, but now he's like a mutant.
That's interesting. I didn't think of it as April seeing that. I thought of that being for our benefit, but no, you're absolutely 100% correct that is exactly what that is that it's April seeing. That's her memory.
He's with the Foot Clan. Like and I love that interpretation of it.
I do too,
because like she could just think like
he's a monster.
I'm getting attacked again, or he's a monster, and he must be with the Foot Clan because like they're the ones that are trying to go after me this whole time.
Right.
But like I do like that idea of like she had that interaction with him, and she knows him and his voice and like the way he looks. You know what I mean?
He made an impression.
Go back to he did. He made an impression. He left an indelible impression, and now you have to go back to the cartoonist. You have to tell him that the guy that tried to like cut me up in the alley, now he has pig features.
Yes.
No, I'm not on drugs. You know what I'm saying?
And he's wearing pants unlike other people with pig features, like Porky.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true. I mean, like, I mean that's how you know you got yourself a hold of a different universe.
Absolutely,
my man. You know what I'm saying? Like that ain't gonna be. You know what I'm saying? You can't go Porky Pigging it out here.
You can't with my man going on. You can't be Porky Pigging it with my man.
So, bottom of page 16, excellent illustration of Irma in absolute just distress. Love the actual the spittle lines between her teeth.
Oh
yeah, it's awesome. Like, love the art here. With her screaming April, and like, yeah, your boy's got a firm hold on her. Like,
absolutely.
Your boy Bebop's like hauling ass. He's like, I'm out of here. So cut to the turtles and the turtle blimp, because that's just what you do.
Because that's what you do.
And you have Irma.
That's what you do, Ryan. Whenever you don't want to be seen. You don't want to be seen. You've had your first battle like maybe a week ago, if that. You have a giant ass blimp that you're flying over one of the biggest, most traveled to cities in all of the world, and it has your name on top of it that just says Turtles. Like, that's what you do. People will never look up. People will never look up. That's what Invincible taught us. But
people never look up.
But the only thing I could think of is that this is another thing that Donatello obviously found all these parts in the sewer, and he made it, and this is their form of rebelling. Like, that they're like, essentially this is them like taking their bikes and going down the street they weren't supposed to. But like,
yes,
nobody ever looks up. You're absolutely right. And that thing flying up so high in the air, they might have a hard time seeing people, but we get into what they can see, and obviously it probably works both ways.
I think they're just trying to get a Target, exclusive out of it. Really.
Oh, that's probably what they're doing. Oh yeah, that's all they're doing. Yeah.
But they're like, oh yeah, no one can find it, but everyone wants it, and they have money and want thing, but then everybody able to get it, but it's too cool.
Exactly.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go.
And people don't, and people never look up.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, I love that too. They're flying, just hanging out, and they're so happy. And they're like, this is only a patrol, and like, you have Leo kind of saying like, look, like, you got like, Mikey, like, look, the stuffed animal attraction, let's go see it, and all this crap. And he's like, no, look, like, we're just like looking out for like Shredder type business. Like, so y'all, keep it down. But of course, from up top, they do notice Bebop absconding into the sewers with April, who appears to have just screamed herself into unconsciousness at this point.
Yes.
And I do like Bebop's expression here. He's like looking up, like, so it's turtles. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of a big fan of that.
Yeah.
Like how they like zoom in and they see him down there. He's like, drat. You know what I mean? Like, I do like it.
Yeah.
So, of course, the turtles are now like, now it's Ninja Turtles move out time. And they do that. And they do that whenever they kind of do like a general call to arms. They decide to kind of put it in that Ninja Turtles colon and then whatever they're going to say. Now, that's probably like a translation of the kanji we saw kind of on the front of the comic, where Ninja Turtles was probably written in that shell font.
Yep.
And then the kanji probably had the shell font as well. So they went ahead to like, I'm sure they went to try to represent that.
Absolutely.
Like here, where it's like, Ninja Turtles trademark, you know what I mean? Move out.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, so they decide to head down. Well, we cut to Bebop carrying April and making her way down the hallway there. And she's that girl. Let me tell you
she's
what,
on it. She's on
it. I love the ambition on this April.
She's
now that she's over Bebop's back, kind of over his shoulder. She got that camera out. She's like, I'm gonna film some of this shit.
Actually, absolutely.
My man, Burn Thompson's gonna dock my pay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I'll have some evidence. So she's filming. She's like, a base underneath New York. Wow. And it's like, you gotta love that ambition. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, she's on that grind.
You gotta respect. You gotta respect the hustle.
You gotta respect the hustle. So she rolls up on an interesting panel. We only really see ones of Shredder kind of in front of a screen, like a monitor, and then some people working on like consoles ahead of him, and you don't ever know who these people are. They're dressed in like almost like a gi.
Mm-hmm.
It looks almost like they have like the rolled up sleeves kind of like a gi.
Right.
But you never see these people again. But I'm like, are these his other just like minions that are like working on this tech? It's like really weird. They never explain it.
Mm-hmm.
But Bebop comes back with April and it's like, I got her, boss. And he's like, oh yeah, 1 minute. I'm sorry, I'm on the FaceTime.
I'm on a Zoom call
with your boy. Well, I'm on a Zoom call with Krang. And so it's Krang, and Krang's basically like, Shredder, how goes the operation? And he's like, everything is going according to the plan and all this stuff. And he has this conversation with Krang where he's like, Krang's basically saying like, waste no time conquering the world. I'm growing impatient. And so and April kind of wonders at like Shredder taking orders from like this mysterious, weird, alien looking person.
Mm-hmm.
And when the call disconnects, like you see Shredder say, how sick and tired I am of listening to him,
right.
But once again, another little twist on the origin story here. So I guess here this mimics almost like an IDW situation where like you've got Krang is still in Dimension X and is communicating with our world.
Right.
And preparing for some like great invasion or something like that. And it seems more like, and once again, they've given no origin as to like how they got in contact. Maybe they will later in the series. I'd really like to see it. But like you already see that like Shredder's like not having this totally though. But with Krang over in Dimension X, that means that like all this tech we're gonna see, this is Shredder's doing. Which is kind of different, right?
Normally, it is.
Wait till you see my tech. You know what I'm saying? Like, Krang brought the tech.
Right.
And Shredder's like, is it rusted? It was basically all he had to say.
Oh my goodness.
But here, it's a little different.
It is. Now, speaking of things that are different, I want to get your thoughts on April, her height. So April, I think she stands about to Shredder and Bebop's chest, like just below their, like where their chest would start if going up, right?
Pretty at the bottom of their chest. She's really short here.
So let's just assume that Shredder is probably like 5'10", 5'12", close to 6 foot. Bebop's probably a little bit over that. So April is probably 4 foot something. Like that's pretty short, right? Like.
He's pretty short in this depiction.
Yeah.
I don't know if that necessarily stays consistent.
Right.
She's pretty damn short.
Yeah,
like Shredder has to look all the way down his chest to look her in the eye.
Yeah.
She is really short. Now, the other thing you might see though is that like Bebop and Shredder could be positively huge.
Absolutely.
Like Shredder could be closer to like 6'8".
Yeah.
Like, really big, and like Bebop's probably closer to 6'10", 7 foot.
Yeah.
And April is, on the shorter side for a woman. So maybe like in the early 5 foots, like 5'3", 5'4".
Yeah.
But like compared to them, she is going to be like way shorter than them.
Right.
But I think I do like her size here.
I do too. It kind of gives. I hate the fact that we're literally belittling a woman to make the men look bigger, but that's what the art is doing here to show you like how. Yeah. I'm not saying we are, but I'm saying that the actual art is doing that to just show how imposing these characters are. But
I don't want to say that it's like I wouldn't say that this is belittling women at all. I think physically, sure, like it acknowledges that April is shorter than these two gigantic thugs. But like April remains defiant through all this shit.
Oh, absolutely.
She's not cowering in fear or anything like that.
I didn't mean to say that they did that intentionally. I just meant to say that we're pointing out that a woman is short and men are tall, and that it makes
a shortcoming, if you will, a shortcoming.
Yes, thank you. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm putting.
Hey man, women are short sometimes. You know
sometimes,
what I'm saying?
sometimes, yeah.
That's how it is.
How it is. But anyway,
no, this is definitely either you're supposed to believe that Shredder and Bebop are absolutely huge, or that like April is just shorter than she normally is. Like she's depicted as like 6 foot tall in the 87 animated series. Easily.
Oh yeah,
like,
even in Mirage,
as tall as like anyone.
I think in Mirage too, she was pretty tall, if I'm not mistaken.
She's about as tall as Casey is in Mirage, but Casey is not shown as being the tallest guy.
That's true.
Casey's like an average height guy.
Yeah.
He's always like shorter and kind of squatter,
Mm-hmm.
not super like tall and lean.
Right.
But April's never really been like vertically challenged, really,
No.
in any origin. But here, I mean, I think it's reasonable.
Yeah.
In this panel on page 20, it does make her look like a kid, though.
It does.
Something
it
about
does.
the way it's drawn does make her look like a kid. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. But I don't know why. I do like. I kind of like this interpretation because like, why not?
I do too.
It's kind of cool.
I do too.
Rather than because they kind of draw April a bit like a Barbie most of the time. So I like her dimensions being a little bit more realistic and a little more like shorter. But yeah, so basically like Shredder's like, I bet you're wondering why we're going to kill you. You wonder why we're trying to kill you. And she's like, yeah, because like I'm blowing up your criminal activity and everyone says it's a conspiracy, but like it's not because you're real. And look, now I'm here. That's why. And he's like, ha ha ha. We're no mere criminals. We're the next rulers of the world. And this is where Shredder does the thing where he tells you what he's gonna do.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, with this weather controller, we've been wreaking havoc with the world's weather patterns. And he just talking about how he can transform the world into a wasteland, or we can flood it, or I can make it. You just need a parasol, like you know what I mean. Like like he's like I can do whatever I want. I'm sure April like kind of wanted to say that looks like you just pull a lever and things happen. Like I don't think you're doing anything. I think you just pull a lever and you go, oh, it's gonna be cloudy all day, but it's cloudy, but also acid rain. Like I don't think you really have control over it. Right. I think you're just pulling, literally pulling levers. Like that's all you're doing. But effectively, like Shredder lays out the full like, and then I will literally crush this peaceful world beneath my heel. And he says, yeah, friends, family, all you hold dear will die, little Miss Reporter. And then, of course, April, defiant as ever. You know what I'm saying? You can't do this. And then Shredder's like, kill her, Bebop.
Yeah, dead ass.
And then
kill her.
Like, yeah, just kill her. And you can see, like, with the art, like, he just kind of like twists away. Like, you see his cape flying. He's like, I'm out. Like, I'm out of this. So apparently, Bebop's like, well, I'll have some fun with her first.
Right.
And then, like, proceeds, like, it's kind of funny because I don't know like what his idea of fun is.
I don't either.
What it looks like is like just pushing her head like kind of to the side,
right,
with like one big like ham hand, and then like the other hand being kind of like held a little bit away from her. I'm like what? Like
yeah, it. I mean,
I don't know if he meant to like slam her head against the wall or something.
Yeah,
there's an air of some naughtiness maybe going down.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, just even if it's just textually, but like but I will say I do love it because it's a villain thing to do, that it's not like pulling a punch. Like so I like the fact that it's like these are villains doing villain stuff, and it's the kid gloves are not on. And but yeah, I was wondering what the idea of fun is, because it looks like he's just like about to break her neck, and it's like, because he does say
I guess that's what I was trying to describe. It didn't look like he was like necessarily going to like grope her. Right. It looked more like he's like, okay, cool, now I'm going to snap your neck.
Yeah, because he says that I'm going to make it.
Way to kill somebody.
Right. He says I'm going to make it nice and easy for you, which is like, once you realize that he's going to kill her, that seems different than having fun with her, which is it's strange, but nevertheless, stuff.
Nobody would like that. No. But don't worry, because you can count on us. You know what I'm saying?
That's what they told us.
And here comes the sigh and a big old kick from Mikey right into the gut of Bebop, who screams in kanji again. And the turtles show up. And Shredder is still kind of there, I guess, because he's like, what are you? And they're like, we're Master Splinter's ninjutsu successors, the Ninja Turtles.
Copyright.
Copyright. And I do like April here, who's just kind of grabbing like her like shirt and like kind of closing it again. And she's like, what the hell are these guys doing? And Mikey just looks deranged. Like Mikey looks like that looks like some wooga wooga gaijin kind of shit. You're like, nah, like
it does.
This guy's crazy.
It does.
Like the other turtles are like here to avenge their father. That guy is having just fun.
Yeah, he's a maniac. I will tell you that I do not
like. He's a maniac.
I do not like the trunk look of the turtles, where it looks like they're wearing briefs.
Yeah,
I don't
I
like
just
that.
noticed that.
I don't like it. I think this might be the
How
second
did
time. Yeah.
How
I
did I
don't.
just notice? Well, they don't really show. No,
I
they do. They
don't.
do.
They do a couple times, but this is a
They do earlier in
prominent
the
shot.
comic.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up, but
The shot back on page 9. Don't go back there, but the shot back on page 9 where they're like, "We kicked your butts," and they're like, "Oh, sorry, Splinter." Like it's predominantly shown. Like your boy looks like he's wearing a codpiece. Yeah,
I'm not a fan.
I really don't like that. My man on that. I'm not a big fan of those trunks, man.
I am not either.
No,
that ain't getting
that. That kind of turns me on the whole thing. No, I'm just,
yeah.
But no, for real. But I love the turtle design. I'm not a fan of those trunks. Like, why?
No.
I mean, let the front tail fly free. What are you?
Precisely.
What are you, coward?
Exactly.
Come on, you cowards.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So of course, it's funny because like Shredder knows Splinter as Splinter because he says Splinter, so that wretch still lives. And nowhere in here do they say Hamada Yoshi.
Right.
So like in this canon, I guess at least Hamada Yoshi was at least nicknamed Splinter.
Absolutely.
Or Shredder knew of that. Like Orokosaki knew of Splinter before his mutation. Which is, in my opinion, a little bit of a plot hole. But that's just me.
Well, I think it goes back to I think it goes back to the whole thing I was talking about earlier, is that they choose to expedite some things and then they choose to stay on some things and dig deep. And this is another one of those things where they're just like, let's just keep going. And so.
Yeah. I shall massacre you turtles where you stand. And Shredder starts doing that for real.
Yeah.
Now, while this is all going down, April's like, look, I got my big scoop. Because, April, and this is true.
She's always on.
She's
always
animated
working.
series and early animated series and early adventures, April. Where it's like, yeah, but I'm going to get the news, though.
Right.
Like there's a little of that. And I was kind of sad to see it go from the animated series because she became a lot more. She was about her stories, but I hate to say it, but in almost more of a childish way.
Yeah.
Than it was before. It felt like at the beginning in Adventures, it was like, look, like, I'm your ally. Like, I'm down. And, like, you saved my life and we're cool. Like, we're buddies. But, like, if you get in the news, I'm going to report it. Yeah. Like there was, like yeah. I'm like, if y'all do something newsworthy, I'm getting my story.
Right. Like
business is business, kind of like.
I'm news reporter, then friend kind of thing. Like, news reporter above all.
I'll be your friend until like we're hang out and like eat pizza and chill and like whatever. But like when it becomes news time, I put my news hat on, and then I'm a news reporter. Like I really like that kind of April, especially early, because classic when characters meet in a comic, they're always misaligned a little bit. Yeah. I like that misalignment out of April, and I like that eventually, and this happened in Adventures because it's like the best TMNT storyline ever, where effectively April realizes like it's not about that.
Yeah.
Like that. So actually, like the mission's more important than the news stories. Your girl here, though, the same girl that filmed that damn underground base while over Bebop's shoulder. Yeah. She's filming this fight. She's like, this is
she
happening.
Totally is. Yeah.
So, you see Shredder, he's getting kind of outdone a bit. And he's like, I could make use of these turtles. He says, I have something very fitting in mind for our next encounter. And he throws, Ninja Smoke Bomb. You know what I'm saying? And the turtles like celebrate like a lot, like a whole lot.
Like so much so that they
beat him.
Yeah. And to the point where they're melting on the last panel of 25. Like,
oh, that's not why.
They have the sweat drop. And the art looks like they're melting, like literally melting.
It does. But that's because weirdly, Shredder set the equipment to self-destruct. Which
that might play a factor into it.
Is the weather machine that he was going to use to conquer the world? He just set it to blow up. I mean, did he like pull that lever one more time and like 3 like bombs came up or something?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah,
that'd be a very Robotnik way to I guess get out of that.
Yeah, it's like I lost one fight. I'm gonna blow up my entire operation. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Like you freed some of your animal friends. Time to blow up my whole like base.
Right.
On
exactly.
This, like, part of the planet. You're like, okay. So somehow now the turtles are far away from that equipment. They were not before. Now they're above ground.
Yeah.
And they see it explode. Which to me, I'm like, okay. I'm sorry. Did we literally miss a page? And we did not, because it is labeled 25 and 26. So we did not miss a page. That just happened. They warp out. And then this is your classic, like, this instantiates the connection of the turtles, like, with April. They're like, look, the Shredder's tenacious. You might need to watch out for him. Here, take a turtle comm. Just give us a call until we meet again. And they, airlift Sky Crane out of the situation in the turtle blimp. Very inconspicuous.
This just that the turtle blimp's just been hanging up there the whole time.
It has. It's just been like a VTOL, just like parked, waiting for them to like Sky Crane, Skyhook out of that thing.
Right.
And then we come back to the news, and April saying, and that's our report on the mysterious explosion that rumbled the Bronx. For Channel 6, I'm April O'Neil singing off. You know what I'm saying? And she sings off, and that is the end of chapter 1. So it's a unique take, I think. It's a different. It is just like, we're just gonna make our own continuity for the origin of this entire thing,
right?
Which is cool. It's really cool. To me, it definitely feels like that, though. It feels like they were like, no, we're just doing our own origin, rather than they got it wrong, like that they were trying to follow an origin and they messed it up. I actually
100%. Yeah. No. There's no mess up here. I don't think at all. No, this is just them, because like it's that whole thing, and we've talked about this before, I believe, where different countries, based on their media intake and like how their sort of like fiction is and different things that they understand, like certain concepts and whatnot, they can expedite some storytelling elements that don't matter to them, because just in all of their other fiction, it doesn't really matter, or for whatever purpose the demographic is trying to serve, it's irrelevant. And so it would be one thing, I think, if this was an ongoing series that because we see this with like animes that they have and manga and stuff like that have like just a multitude of issues where they've gone on for like decades, and it's like a book like that, you have to have nuance. You have to know, like, oh, Hamatoyoshi is Splinter, and that is his name, and Shredder would refer to him as Hamatoyoshi and not Splinter. They would have probably done that, but since this is just a 4-issue kind of thing, I think they're just aiming to just get the brunt of everything and not really deal with a lot of the nuance. And I think that plays a heavy hand in this. But I like your point that it's more intentional than it is that they messed up, because I definitely don't think they messed it up at all. It was totally intentional. Yeah, I do too. One thing though that I wanted to bring up was that, why do you think that every villain almost like it's definitely a stereotype that they start with a weather dominator? Because like one of the earliest things in G.I. Joe was Cobra with the weather dominator. And I wonder, because it's funny, because in language, usually a language originates by people talking about the weather, and like it's because it's something that we can all like communicate about. With it's all something we all experience it kind of simultaneously. And
we all go get in our Cracker Barrel rocking chairs and talk about the weather.
Exactly, right? That's what you do. And so I wonder if that had some sort of effect on it, or if it's just that's a real easy fictional like plot device that you can just put it in and it just makes sense. Like I guess that's the thing, is that it's easy for kids or younger folks to understand that weather can be scary and dangerous, and if people control it, that it can be So I guess that makes a little bit more sense.
That is weird. Yeah, it is weird that weather manipulation is a trope.
Mm-hmm.
That always has in my head. I'm always like, how are you doing this?
Yeah,
and they never explain it.
Yeah, they never do.
No, I have a machine. I'm like, okay.
I just can. Exactly. And it's like, and I'm not a mutant, so like that's not my power.
I guess the thing about the weather, I guess the big thing about the weather is like that makes it like a superior weapon is that it can affect the whole world at once.
Oh, that's true.
You don't have to fight some like war or like have these like huge like access to like an arsenal of like nuclear warheads to like destroy the Earth. You could just do it with the weather of the Earth.
Right.
Like maybe that's part of it.
Right.
Maybe
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
a little easier for like one man to like screw the entire world over.
Yeah.
Instead of what I mean, like I put a bomb in this building. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Those stakes feel lower somehow.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely you actually touched on it that made me think about it. That it's like it's more of a catch-all kind of deal. That it can encompass more things, and it's harder to combat, especially if you don't know what's doing it. So, but the other villain trope is that you tell your antagonist or your heroes,
it's classic,
what you're doing and how to stop it.
You tell the protagonist your entire plan and how to stop it, and then you do it, and then you're like blown out, like Pikachu face, and then you like walk away.
Exactly.
That's how that works.
Well, we're not gonna walk away just yet. We're gonna get into this next issue. So, you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. So this is Mutant Turtle Gaiden. There we go. Mutant Turtle Gaiden issue 2. Beat the Phony Turtles. I love it. And
that's their job.
That's their job. Beat the Phony Turtles. And again, the credits, shout outs again to Optical Internet Translation Gang for providing this and like making this available for everybody. Again, I want to give the credits for this is they are editor Cleaning and Bubbles, Cryomancer, translation Mark Pellegrini, and raw provider Adam Winters. And again, go check out tmntentity.blogspot.com for a lot of cool stuff, and they're good people, so go check that out. So what do you think about this cover right here? Because I actually think this looks pretty neat. I do like it. The beak is still weird, like you were saying earlier, but I like this.
Like I guess like I don't know, like it. I like the art a lot. It's just weird that it's not in color. The dot matrix is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's so much less vibrant than the original cover, and I don't know if this is. I don't think this is the original cover. Actually,
no. What I think it is. This is a collection.
Inside.
I think it's a collection of
all
four.
Yeah, you're right.
That's probably what it is. So So there probably was a color version.
Sense, actually.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. This is the thing because this is issue 2. At the end, Mark talks about sorry that the image is so dark in the spine, but like that's just like how it had to be with the scan.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a cover necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the art though. Like I said, the beaks can get a little strange,
right?
But I think here they're fine. I mean, you can tell which one's Mikey.
Exactly.
In black and white.
In black and white, exactly.
Tell which one Mikey is. You could literally tell the party dude right from just looking right at him. So it does its job.
It does.
You know
it does. And that's actually a hallmark that's pretty good because you could tell Leo's on top because of swords. If the one laughing is Mikey, then the other one's obviously Raph because Donatello's the one with the darker bandana on the bottom. Yeah, so that's genius. I hadn't thought about that. So all right, so this is issue number 2. We start off with seeing some creatures that look like turtles. They got the turtle shell and they're big and brooding and they're breaking into some stuff like a bunch of. It looks like. Well, I guess I would say it looked like wood, but I think it's like a mixture of the garage door kind of thing that pulls down like in a storage unit or whatever, and then the glass window behind the store, like the front of the store.
Yeah, it's like a shop front that has like
it's
like a shop front that has its like roller gates down.
Precisely.
And there's like screw all that.
Right, and so you see somebody saying, "Oh, hey, look, it's 4 giant turtles," and the cops show up and they're like, freeze, we're gonna, arrest them essentially, and then the artwork makes it look like the 4 turtles like have there's no effect that the cops have like shooting at them or whatever. It's just like nope, nothing. You are nothing to us, and so then. It's kind of ominous as to what happens, but you can assume that a fight took place, or at least a beatdown. So then we get a overlook of New York, a city like skytop. That's not the right word. Cityscape. That's the word I was looking for. Skyline, and cityscape are the 2 words that I was conflating.
Coptunus, baby.
Coptunus. Thank you. And
come on.
We have April O'Neil, Channel 6 News, reporting and. Well, it says that she's reporting, but however, it looks like she's the anchor, and she's throwing it to Irma, who is on the street, in them streets, and she's reporting in, talking about the past month, mysterious criminals have been behind a string of 16 jewel robberies, and they've recently received eyewitness testimonies that talk about how there were 4 turtles involved in these robberies, and we get to see who I think one was the cop. In like a he's bandaged up and in the hospital, and then there's the what I'm assuming was a homeless man that witnessed the turtles first, like, or the phony turtles, whoever they are, or maybe they're not phony turtles, who knows, at this point we don't know, but he's saying that they definitely were turtles, and it's pretty funny because he says that he's ain't I got an honest face, you gotta believe me, and his like face is all kind of pixelated out. It's kind of strange, but I do appreciate it.
I'm a big fan of that.
Oh yeah. So then April's like, 4 turtles in the city, this thing that I've been telling everyone about. People are confirming this again. But, they're the prime suspects. And I love it because she's not like saying, she's not trying to twist it or spin it. And because she knows that better than them to be criminals. But she's just telling it like it is. Like, hey, people are saying these 4 turtles are out here doing this. Eyewitness accounts. They're the prime suspects. That's what it is. So the turtles are blown out by this. They are watching the television with Splinter, and they're like, what, April, after we saved you, and then you're throwing us under the bus and all this? Well, apparently not all the turtles were there. Michelangelo was actually out getting pizza. So he comes back, and he's like, hey, what did I miss? With a mouthful of pizza. And so he comes back and is asking them, like I just said, what did they miss? And they're like, oh, nothing, except, but you've been stealing more than pizzas, apparently, but insinuating that he's the one that's doing the jewel robberies or whatever. And, then all of a sudden he says, like, hey, I'm not that kind of turtle. Out of nowhere, April O'Neil appears. And she goes, I know that.
Love this.
Yeah.
Love this layout. Absolutely love this layout with, like, April kind of dominating that right side.
Oh yeah,
and her just
definitely
walking in like that, like just absolutely love that page.
Oh yeah, she just owns it, and so, but she continues to say that she knows that, but the news is the news, and I love that, like that hard line with her, that it's like, there's no.
That's my early April. Like, look, the news is the news. Like, help me break the narrative or something, because like you all look like you're stealing more than pizzas.
Exactly. So So Splinter, devised, just kind of like realizes that, it's the Shredder. I just know it. It's the Shredder that's doing this.
Pretty much.
Just, I have no other evidence except for, I think it's Shredder. And the turtles are like, oh, of course it's that punk. Of course it's him that's doing this. He's the one who's framing us for these crimes. Like, he's the one. Like, it has to be. Because, and then there's still jokes going on about how Michelangelo's turned on him and stuff like that. And that's a thing that happens, and that we noticed in the last Turtles manga that we read, where there was, like, jokes going on in the background where characters are making references to stuff still. But, like, you it probably, if it was in our like language that I mean, I know it's translated, but like if it was done, like if this was an American comic, they would have done it in a way that we could recognize as, oh, that's a thing that happens a lot in American comics, where they do this one thing visually and it's telling this thing. And apparently this is something in Japan where they, people who are reading this would pick up on that without any problem whatsoever. Anyway, moving on. The turtles are like really energetic, and I kind of love that about them here, because again, they're teenagers. Now, well, let me rephrase, because in this it's not called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles here. It's just called Mutant Ninja Gaiden, or Mutant Turtle Gaiden, yeah. And so they're not teenagers, but we know that they're the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I always love when they show them exemplifying like attributes of teenagers. For sure. And so they're just so excited and so eager to just like, okay, we know who to get. We have a target. Let's go. But they don't know like what exactly to do or how to get started. So April comes up with an idea where they decide. I think it's April, right? Or no. This isn't April. This is Shredder talking. He's saying that the HPC, the largest, most famous diamond in the world, is held here, and I think that stands for high pressured carbon. Is that what that says on the door? Okay. So
that's basically what diamonds are. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what that door says too. And so Shredder's like, yeah, this is going to be our next target. This is where we're going to get it. What we're doing. And
this is where we're going to get our next Target exclusive.
You So another thing I love about these is that you see Shredder kind of doing this thing, like not like the I didn't do it, but like he's like, oh, like just kind of.
Oh yeah.
Because you got to think as Shredder, he can't just be like, you got to be careful with those blades because you can't like rub your eyes or something like that.
No,
you're gonna
he
get
can
cut
just,
up.
barely get his thumb on that head because like it might just like fish an eyeball out or something. He's not careful.
Exactly. So I kind of like that they're kind of just like showing him like in different like ways like this. But he's seen in front of a monitor that shows a diamond, which is the Jewel of the Nile. And it's the world's largest diamond, and it went on display at the highly desired technology showcase today of all days. And he says it's been calculated as being 154 carats, and we'll snatch it for ourselves. So now we have our first appearance of mutated Rocksteady, which is pretty cool. So what do you think about him, especially him when Bebop, like right here, Ryan?
Oh, I love the illustration. They're very true to the 87 animated series versions. Even down to like Rocksteady's kind of like bigger like machete on his back. So they're definitely like they're definitely following like a style guide for them. That's from Mirage. Like you know what I mean? Like they're definitely following a style guide, but it still looks really good.
Right.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's interesting because they kind of have a little bit more of a like a doofy kind of look to them, but they still look menacing. But there's a little bit of I don't want to say humanity, but there's a simpleness to them still. It's kind of present there. But I love this because I wasn't expecting this from them. They say so Shredder just said that we're going to steal the Jewel of the Nile. And Bebop goes, but boss, stealing something that valuable has got to be impossible. And you're like, okay, that sounds like a thing to say. But then Rocksteady comes in with and you'd never find anyone to buy it from you anyway. And I'm like, that's actually...
Like you can't... Yeah, he's like, you can't fence it. Like, you're not going to be able to fence the Jewel of the Nile.
Right, because...
Like, that's not a thing.
Yeah, no. And so I kind of love that they're thinking like that.
No, I like that too.
Yeah, because these were criminals. These were street thugs and street hunks and stuff, and like I love that. So Shredder's like fools, and he slices open another thing probably, and he's like the diamond is essential for opening the portal into Dimension X, and my false turtles will steal it with ease. So here we go, dum. So so then the Shredder's like, I'll accept no failures. And so he sends Bebop and Rocksteady and the Phony Turtles that we now know are phony.
To go kind of cool from the first glance of them.
Oh yeah,
they look kind of like interesting. They look kind of formless. Like they look kind of it draws the way they're drawn here. It kind of draws your attention to like, oh, those guys look weird. Like I want to see them later.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. And because it's like they're telling you what they are, but they're not fully revealing it to you. And I'm a huge fan of that. So Shredder keeps talking about how opening a portal to Dimension X that means that the world will be mine. And it's like, really? Because I feel like that's Krang's area, and like you still got to do a bunch of other stuff to get.
Weren't you supposed to conquer your world?
Yeah.
Like, why do you need the portal open for like if you open the portal to Dimension X? I mean, I guess you can get backup from Krang.
Yeah,
but it's not like Krang was like, well, could you hurry up and take care of your shit? Because
it seems
I'm
weird.
impatient. We got stuff to do.
Also, his claws on his hand have become like super long now all of a sudden because he keeps putting his hand on his head. Like he's even having trouble believing that this is going to make any sense because he keeps talking about how he's going to get the meddling turtles, and he starts laughing maniacally again, which I'm a huge fan of.
Well, he's also shown on this page, on page 34, repeatedly as only having two. Even on page 33, he's only got two claws.
Right, and I think that they might have like gone back and redid that.
Yeah, they must have got that right because that's only the first time you see him is on page 32, and this is obviously not page 32 with the comic. This is like from the larger collection.
Yeah,
and he's got two. So yeah, I guess they did. I guess I didn't really notice that till now, but they fixed that. Element of him
because traditionally.
2 instead of 3.
Traditionally, I think that whatever that weapon is, that basically is like the strat that makes you Wolverine claws. I think that it traditionally has. Actually, no. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've seen it with like a multitude of blades. I've seen it with 5. I've seen it with 4, 3, and 2. So, and then you have Baraka, who kind of has a one thing of it. So yeah, like I don't know.
There is a traditional weapon version of that. But yeah. I think those are always more like defensive weapons. But
I think the first time I ever knew that was a thing outside of Wolverine was in Double Dragon 3, I think, where you could play as other characters besides Billy and Bobby and whoever else. I think there was a ninja character, and one of their weapons was that thing, and that was like their main weapon. And that's the first time.
I've also seen a version that I've seen more often that is like a leather thing that where you wear it on the inside of your hand. Like I've seen that too.
Like Assassin's Creed,
where you have like a not like Assassin's Creed.
But I mean,
like
inside
you wear. No, not your inside of your wrist, but in your palm.
Oh,
like I've seen a version of that where it's almost like an oval shaped leather thing with like studded spikes that come out of your palm.
Yeah, that's
for different things.
If I'm not mistaken, that's what I think the Mondo Turtles definitely came with those. They're the things that they use to climb walls. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I thought so, but I thought like I know that, but I thought that they had origins in like being an actual weapon, but I don't know that.
It could literally what it could have been was that they made one and like they had all the steel to make it, and then they had like a little bit of steel left, and someone's like, "Oh, I can make it," and then they don't. They come up short, so they make the whole apparatus with these little claws on it, and they're like, "Well, shit, just turn it around, put it on your palm of your hand, and there you go, done."
And palm of your hand, you can use it
problem
to climb a
solved.
tree.
Exactly, my man. And then there you go.
Like that's there you go. Perfect.
So anyway, so let's see here. Yeah, so then we see a panel of April and the Turtles, and they're looking kind of like concerned. They're like, I don't know if this is going to work. And you find out that they're outside the HPC building, and where the Jewel Denial is on display. And they're like, I don't know if this is going to be right. Like, is this going to work? Like, what's the deal? Like, I don't really know. And we're like, what if we're wrong? Like, what if Shredder is like setting this whole thing up and it was just a ploy to get us drawn out? And then turns out, whoop, whoop, pull over, that shell's too fat. You know what I'm saying? And it's the boys in blue. They show up, and the Turtles are big enough to where they are in front of April, so they kind of block her to where the police officer can't see her. So they're like, April, skedaddle, and we'll just take the blame, I guess.
We'll take the rap, yeah.
Yeah, so they're like, you dumb thug. The police are like, you dumb thugs are coming with us, and they're like, oh man, like is there any ideas? Because like this is obviously Shredder setting us up, but like what are we gonna do? And then all of a sudden you see like it looks like the floor is cracking because someone's stepping on it, and it's like, oh, then all of a sudden you see presumably what comes out of the ground is, oh, I think I know what it is that the ground is starting to crack. The foundation of the area they're at is crumbling under the cops' feet because this thing is coming out, and it's this transport thing. It's not a transport module, but it's essentially a cart that's getting Bebop and Rocksteady and the Phony Turtles to the surface, and they're like, oh, the Turtles beat us to the HPC, so looks like this plan just got a whole lot harder. And I love how Rocksteady says this stupid plan. So I love that they're showing like a little bit of insubordination where they're like, yeah, I don't know if this is the best idea. Then we see full frontal Phony Turtles, and they look pretty neat. What are your thoughts on the full frontal of these, Ryan?
Full frontal. I like them. Like once again, I mean, it's cool. They have like the turtle shells. They're kind of like rounded tech, obviously like all metal. I like that they still have the same number of like fingers. I'm a big fan of that. That like, he added that to the design. I mean, if you saw them up close, you would probably be like, those are machines.
Yeah, definitely.
But I like their design. They're very like sleek. I do like that about them.
I do too.
They're pretty cool.
They are pretty neat. I like Shredder's attention to detail. Again, who built these for him? I don't know. Did Krang do it? Who knows?
Sure.
But they scare the cops off, and the the turtles are like, they're running away. Oh, I guess they dropped the charges, and that was pretty funny. But so they're trying to figure out what to do. They're kind of like, okay, well, now that that disaster has been averted, now we got to figure something out. Oh yeah, let's give them a taste of the real deal, which is something that you and I say quite often. Anytime we're on a waterbed, that's the thing we say. Let's give them a taste of the real deal.
Yeah, like let's give them a taste of the real deal. We grab that baby oil. And we're like,
oh my goodness, oh my goodness, good to go. The original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What's the sound effect? Ding. Is that what you did for the copyright?
What ding. Yeah,
there you go. Got
the
it.
trademark.
Yeah.
The original Ninja Turtles. Ding.
There you go. And this one looks pretty interesting. And again, it's one of those things that you don't think about, or at least as someone who's not actually an artist, a drawing cartoonist, a cartoonist. You don't think about how vital pupils are, or how drastic 2 dots change everything. And so at first glance, it looks like Leonardo, Donatello, and Michelangelo do not have pupils, but they do. They're just so tiny. But nevertheless, the fact that they're tinier than what they've been earlier in the issue, it just makes it so much more dynamic, and it gives it a lot of energy, and it's super strange that that's a thing, but it's a thing. So the turtles are like ready to get in action, and so they start whooping ass, or getting their asses whooped by these phony turtles, and they're not sure like what's going on. They're like, their nunchucks are breaking and stuff. Like the Raphael's sai is bent, like because apparently he probably tried to. Actually, you see him here using his sai, the handle of his sai, which I love. Anytime Raphael uses his sai differently than what people think, that they're just little swords.
For sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so they're in distress, and then you see Shredder, and he looks amazing down here. He's laughing again maniacally, and he's like, these things, the phony turtles have been programmed with all of your data, which I collected during our last encounter. And he calls them the Mecha Turtles, because of course he wouldn't call them the phony turtles. But I want to
look really so. Go ahead.
I was just going to say one thing real quick. I want to point out that I do love Shredder's mask here, because it looks like he's got fangs, and that is that's kind of a cool look to me, in my opinion. But yeah. So what were you gonna say?
Oh, I just love, like, this is, in my opinion, like on page 40 is actually the best illustration of the Mecha Turtles. Like that second panel where like he's got like he like reaches down to like block like Leo's or Raph's attack.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty neat.
I don't know, man. Like, it'd be badass. I mean, we don't know what they're going to do in the next issues, but if they got one of these guys and made a metal head out of him, I'd be all about that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be sick. He kind of reminds me a little bit of the IDW metal head, just a little bit, because there's a lot of round features, where the Playmates figure had a lot more, like...
It was super blocky.
Yeah.
Very, like, 8-bit looking. Yeah.
Right. And so I do like this take on a robotic turtle, and so or a mecha turtle, excuse me. And so the turtles are like, whatever, Shredder, this is your plan. There's one problem with your plan. And he's like, what? No, silence. By my doing, I've made you outlaws in the eyes of the police, and now I will destroy you, which is great, because like he never mentioned that was his plan. At least I don't think he did. I think that was like just ancillary to the whole thing. And so there's more attack. Like, he's trying to get these mecha turtles to beat that turtle ass. And it's like the turtles don't know what to do. And I love it, because their shells are up against the wall, and you get another really cool menacing look of the mecha turtles, like right there, just like coming up on the turtles. More of Shredder laughing, and the turtles are like, oh, well, that's it. And then your boy.
Game's over.
Your boy comes in clutch with that burnt Cheeto coming in, being like, he tells them, By assuming the mindset of defeat, you are handing the victory to Shredder, which is a lesson that we all need to learn, like in mental health, that, the mindset of defeat, we got to get rid of that, because that's just, we can't have that.
It's giving Shredder power.
That's true, and we don't want to do that. We're not about giving Shredder anything. So we see this really cool thin panel of Shredder, and he's just like, Splinter. He recognizes him. I think he kind of just context clues, put it together. And then you have one of my favorite probably images of Splinter yelling, "Metal is only metal, but the justice burning in your souls gives you strength beyond measure." And I love that so much. Metal is only metal. Now, do you think that he is referring to Shredder and the metal that he's wearing, essentially? Do you think that that's it? Or you think he's talking about the Phony Turtles? Do you think he's talking about the Mecha Turtles? Okay. Yeah.
Because they're getting wrecked by the fact that they're made of metal. Like their normal attacks would like incapacitate even cloned organic turtles. They're obviously like wrecked because they're metal and they just can't deal with it.
That's true. So, then the turtles just get invigorated by the speech and realize we have the spirit of justice inside of us. Shredder comes up and saying that they sound like losers, and then just fighting just like starts happening, and it's just more and more fighting, and fight, and the turtles are just whooping ass. And we get a weird shot, which like I think this is kind of
you're about to cover over it. But what's important about page 44 and 45 is that the way that they overcome, and the way that the first thing they decided to do once they realized they have the spirit of justice all up in them is the shell attack.
Oh,
the two turtles like pinching you between their shells, which they've done in other turtle manga. Like that's a thing. Like that's a carryover.
Yeah,
like the turtle shell attack thing. So I just thought that was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the thing. If you ever see if you ever see a turtle in the wild, you always want to look for another turtle, because they might be trying to set you up for this. And so it's very dangerous. So be careful when you're out there on the roads. And turtles are not. They don't all have the spirit of justice inside of them, but they got something in them. And so anyway, we get to page 46, and Shredder gets blown out because he's like, how could these freaks win so easily? And the look on his face can only tell me that he's looking at the art, the same thing we're seeing, where two of the turtles are doing one stance, and then the other two are showing us. They hiked up their skirt and showed their world to us, Ryan. Like
this is a great time to choose to show to explain that. I just looked back at the comic a little bit, and not only did they fix Shredder's gauntlets, like the number of blades he has, they also went ahead and fixed the trunks.
Oh, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
Not have trunks this issue.
Obviously,
that's why we can see like what would have to be their buttholes. Just like
like it's just
like
right there.
That's just how it is. Like Leo showing the most. Leo leaves nothing to the imagination.
Yeah.
When it comes to the fact that you can see effectively his whole taint. Like there's no question about it. He's like I got nothing to hide under here.
And that's the look that you would give if you saw a Ninja Turtle just like show their world to you. Like that Shredder is looking just like that. Like that's dead ass what that would look like. And so
this illustration he's like, they're buttholes. That illustration of Shredder, honestly though, is why I don't like his mask.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that look of it, like almost that dog look, which makes it look a little bit like that. Like
it does.
Some interpretations of the Phantom of the Opera mask.
Yeah,
does almost like from that show Phantom or whatever. Do you remember that like really cheesy drama show they made about the Phantom of the Opera?
I don't think
and
so.
He had a mask, but it looked more like dog-like or something. Like, and that's what that reminds me of.
Oh, okay.
It's just like,
no, I see your point there. It looks weird when you're not like laughing maniacally. When you're like just blown out by seeing a turtle's taint, you're just like, it's not a good look.
Like,
like nobody wins after that. So
No, you're right.
then we have another really awesome image of Splinter holding like his like walking burnt Cheeto stick.
The burntest Cheeto you've ever seen.
Yeah, none more burnt than this Cheeto.
No,
yeah,
none more burnt.
Like Splinter says, now that you've seen my son's taint, you prepare to face justice. Like that's what.
Oh shit!
Like so. Goodness. So yeah.
Now
so
that you've seen my son's taint, prepare to face justice.
So
Shredder's like, dude, I thought I already did face justice.
Right.
I thought I saw seeing the whole landing strip down there. Like that was my punishment.
Right. Exactly. I thought I paid my
like,
dues. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, so Shredder's still blown out. He's like, this can't be. Bebop and Rocksteady. Again, I love this because this reminds me of when they were like their hero versions, because they actually like could get stuff done. They got the Rock, they got the Jewel of the Nile, and it's like they did a thing. And I kind of like, I wish that they would use Bebop and Rocksteady more effectively. I think they do in IDW. I'm not caught up, but from what I've read of it, it seems like they give them a little bit more. But yeah, and I love it here that they got the thing done, the job done. So Shredder's like, hey, Jewel of the Nile's mine. You failed, and he does something like either he teleports. It looks like he teleports, right?
No, he jumps down, like he runs away. But I think I've looked at this many times figuring this out. But he activates all the Phony turtles to self-destruct.
That's right.
I see the 4 separate explosions that like block the turtles from like pursuing him and Bebop.
Right. That makes a lot more sense because I was thinking that they teleported somehow, but no, that's the turtles exploding. You're right. The Phony turtles. Yeah. So then we cut back to April O'Neil, news reporter extraordinaire. And she is talking about that. She's telling everybody that it's been concluded that the recent wave of robberies were perpetrated by the Foot Clan. And here she is. It looks like she's signing off now instead of singing off.
Yeah, she's signing off this time. Yep.
Yeah. And the turtles are upset that Shredder got away, that he ran away or whatever. They make a joke about how he didn't say goodbye because he's speechless, and I would be too after seeing that.
Yeah, they put him on hush mouth. Yeah,
they put him on hush mouth. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So April comes. We see April talking to the turtles. I think that they're in the lair. She says that you're off the hook for the robberies, so you're good. Michelangelo comes up with have a Michelangelo special, which I don't think I ever would. Have one of those,
especially after what he displayed out there with the high kicks.
Yeah, exactly. And it's and this is another example of things in quotes that makes me definitely not want to have it. He says, "Our way of saying thanks," and
thanks, in quotes. Yeah,
yes,
never.
And so then she takes a bite, and she says this is delicious, but they find out that they just say it's a working man's pizza. So yeah. But they just make jokes about the pizza and stuff and how it tastes as chewy as a tire or something like that. And pizza jokes. That's it. And that's the issue. That is the issue.
That's
folks.
it. Shredder got his Jewel of the Nile, but lost his Phony Mecha Turtles.
So Shredder got his Jewel of the Nile, and he saw the Turtles' Jewel of the Nile, if you will.
He saw some jewels.
He did. He
definitely
did.
Could be in denial over what he saw in that fight.
Right. Yeah. So
I cannot believe Leo just dead ass was just
let
like, check me out, sucker. Yes.
So yeah,
he's like they're following the style guide more this issue. So check this out.
Right. Look, what does the style guide say about this?
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything about that, man.
I don't think it does. If it does, I mean,
that's unprecedented amount.
It is
like going on there.
Like, do you think that like that when they were making this, they're like, let's. Okay, so the internet was around back then a little bit. They probably had email. They're like, all right, let's email Mirage.
Yeah.
And so do y'all have? I noticed there's nothing in the Bible, the TMNT Bible about or the style guide, if you will, about the Turtles' taints. Yeah. Like, do they have bandanas down there too? Like, what?
We have a thing we're working on. We have a thing we're working on with this, and I feel like Leo is gonna need to expose it all, and right. Mark from Sturge is like answering this email like. this shit can't be translated right.
Right.
This can't be translated right. Like, hey, listen, it sounds like they want to talk about the style guide for like Leo's Taint. It's just like, oh, proto Google Translate. This is insane.
Right.
Like, he just never responds to the email. Like, he just never responds to it.
No.
And they're like, all right, well, we got no word, and
so
better to ask forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? Like, the permission. So he's gonna give you the full high kick, and we'll just see how it goes.
That's so good. Goodness. Well, what did you think about this? Were you a fan of this issue too? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
I liked it. It reminds me a little bit more of the original manga and less, or the other manga, and less of the Mutastones, because it doesn't have as much of that. Like, it is not like humor for days.
Yeah,
like it's a little bit more straightforward, which is great. Like, sometimes we review some of these manga, and they're full. Like turtles are like literally like changing costume to do jokes. Like, all of a sudden, like April, like Donnie's like an old lady, like thank you, like,
right,
and they keep doing this, and you're like, what the hell? Like, he was like an old, like a elderly Japanese lady all of a sudden, like, and now he's not. Like, in the next panel, all that kind of stuff. Like, this is a little bit more on the money as far as just like telling a straight story. I am looking forward to reading the other chapters, though.
Oh yeah, me too.
They're doing kind of a story of the week, kind of gotta foil Shredder at his next step thing. But what I like is that the first time he just gets away on his own, and he's like, oh, I'll figure this out. And then what he figured out was, I'm gonna make copies of you and make you look like shit, which is kind of like that Lord Dreg situation from the animated series.
Yeah.
And I'm about that. That, like, when the Turtles get kind of disenfranchised and get a bad rap in the public. But at the end of this one, he gets the Jewel of the Nile, and he's like, and I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, so it sounds like it's a bit of a Shredder of the week, but it's kind of cool because much like the later seasons of the animated series, it is contiguous though. Like, it's not just Shredder of the week though, because like he's still on the same rails he was on, but now he's got the diamond to open the portal to Dimension X, and there's really no reason why he can't.
Right.
And I like that.
Yeah, I do too. I think that I like that you touched on that, because it's very much like, episode of the like episodic, like weekly kind of thing, where it's a typical trope. Another trope of superhero fiction is villain has a robotic duplicate or a phony version of the protagonist. So He-Man had it with Faker. Superman had it. Well, it wasn't a robot, but Bizarro. The phony version of the character, the mirror version, whatever you want to call it. And so I like that trope, because I like that they used it here to frame the Turtles and to get them to sour the public's opinion of them. The voice of the city, if you will, their opinion. And I think that's one of those things where it's like they set there's a precedence that has been set by this catalyst, that once the catalyst is dealt with, the precedent has changed. But the plot device of Shredder getting the jewel, he got the jewel. Now, if he didn't get the jewel and it was just next time, Turtles, I would have been disappointed. But the fact that he actually succeeded on two fronts, for at least one for a time, like that makes that the episodicness of it, or the villain of the week kind of thing, or the trope of the week story element, like it makes it a little bit more palatable to me, and I appreciate it a little bit more. So there's that. But yeah, and I like that they tightened up on the things they got a little loose on the first issue with the trunks being gone and Shredder stuff. Yeah, I did too. And so but I'm not gonna lie though, I do kind of miss a little bit more of the humor that we've seen before. I do like that it's not. I agree. I do like that it's not like inundated with it, but I love that humor in manga. Like, I love that kind of stuff, because it's. But generally, when you have that kind of stuff, you have a more serious story going on, And this story seems a little bit more like kind of middle ground. Like it's not super serious. Like with the Mutastones, you had like all this backstory and like all this other stuff, and then with movie 3, you had the impending peril of being trapped in feudal Japan. But like, I don't know, the juxtaposition makes it so much sweeter, and I guess it doesn't really fit here fully. But I don't know, it's interesting. So, yeah, that's our thoughts. Well, why don't y'all tell us yours? You can do that by emailing us at turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. You can also go to the home of the internet. Ryan, what is that?
That would be turtlesoupshow.com.
Ooh, okay, yeah, that's where it is. And yeah, you could also the home of the internet. And then again, turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. The red phone rings, the hotline. Let us know what your thoughts are on this manga. Did you collect it? Were you in Japan and did you pick this up? Have you read this before? Like, what are your thoughts on this? Like, we want to know what you all think about this. And what are some of your favorite villain tropes? Like, do you like the whole weather thing and the phony hero? Is there another one that you'd like to see the Turtles tackle that you're hoping in the next issues? Because I haven't read ahead yet, so I don't really know what happens. But do you prefer this? Do you prefer this intro or this version of the Turtles origin story to anything we've had before? Let us know. Also, if you want to be a part of our community, you can do that by going to Instagram, Turtle Soup Show with the underscores between each word. You could also go to Facebook and find the Turtle Soup group where all of us hang out, and a lot of stuff gets posted in there, a lot of news and a lot of fun topics and cool people talking about cool stuff. Then let's see what else is there. You can go to you can help us out a lot by going to whatever podcast app you're using and rate, review, subscribe. That helps us out tremendously. And then I feel like I'm missing stuff, Ryan. Oh, YouTube. I keep forgetting we're on YouTube, even though I'm looking dead ass in the camera. We're on YouTube. So if you're just listening to this in a podcast form, if you want to do us a big favor and help us out, go to YouTube. Like, subscribe, whatever you got to do, whatever you want to do. We appreciate that a lot. Even if you don't watch it, just doing it helps us a lot. Oh, yeah. So,
no, watch it. What is that? Watch it.
I like to. I don't want to tell people what to
subscribe. You know, you're the worst at selling YouTube. So you want to go to YouTube because you can see all the stuff. Okay, you get to see it live, which means you get to interact with the pregame show. You know what I'm saying? Currently, we've been doing kind of like a post-game show where we name the episode. We might not always do that, but we definitely do now. We're consistent. You know what I'm saying? When one of us isn't back broke or dying from a cold. And just go subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really helps us out, and you get notifications if you turn notifications on. And then when you're just like scrolling around YouTube, you're like, "Oh man, the dudes are live! Oh man, it's Thursday! Man, I'm gonna check this out." It's really good stuff. You should definitely come check it out. Also,
Yeah, and also, if you want to go the extra mile, you can do that by going to patreon.com, find out we've been making a podcast, and see that we've updated it for the most part. We got some other things that are coming in the near future to sweeten the pot, if you will. And, all kinds of stuff is up there. Shirts are going to be up there, and as per usual, and different things. A lot of different perks. And then if you want us to, if longtime Turtle fans have heard us write songs about stuff that's happened on the show and like in the comics and stuff, if you want us to write songs about the Turtles Jewel of the Nile, we will write songs about the Turtles Jewel of the Nile. But especially if a patron wants us to do it, there's a short list of things we won't do musically for money. So so you could do that and make your voice heard by going to Patreon and solidify that. So you can do that.
You can.
But
I'll write something about that. Why not?
Why not? You know, YOLO. Tomorrow you might die. So
tomorrow you might die.
So guys, again, thank you so much for listening and watching and supporting us. And thanks, huge shout out to our patrons. And next week we're going to be doing chapters 3 and 4. So that should be next Thursday, same time, same Turtle channel here. And till then, else time.